Hello, hello, friends. We are back on the internet. Dice Antics Part 2 premiere. Let's go. Super excited. First off, I want to get right into it because I'm absolutely floored and excited for these stories. Thank you guys so much for joining on Monday. It was not even a scheduled day where we did like a special day, and all of you guys came out en masse to support, and it means the world to me. Going back reading the comments was like absolutely, I was on a high for 2 days. So thank you all so much. I'm so excited to be able to bring this out for you guys. And thanks to John, our Kahurangi, for following during the break and becoming our 50th. We made affiliate, which is amazing. And a lovely shout out to our own friend Simple Donut for being really in a jerkish way my first subscriber, so that's super exciting. I told him not to follow, and of course he just went ahead and did it. So it means a lot. Thank you guys so much. We're super excited to be able to bring you this story in a streaming content. Before we jump in, I just have one or two announcements. First one being, with everything going on in the world, we all know what's going on. I'm not talking politics. I'm not getting into it, but everyone here knows I love Critical Role and the message that they send. So I want to just say welcome here. This is a safe spot. Inclusion, relax, let the world go away, and let's all love each other. Right? Enough about that. Second, super exciting. I actually just saw this. A shout out to Birthday Shark on his Discord. Wizards of the Coast is going to announce their next D&D book here on the 12th. So what is that, next week? So super excited about that. Obviously, we all love D&D here. So I will be shouting that out for sure, see what kind of setting we get into. And then because we have my amazing DM here over to my side, one that I play in for Ren, all of you guys know on Sundays, he's going to go ahead and introduce and shout out that. And why don't you talk about your experience for D&D as well?
All right. So my name is Mark, and yeah, on Sundays at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, we run our Beacon's Aura game, which takes place, I guess, like apocalyptic, urban fantasy type setting. And Mike and my wife Rachel, and then Rachel's sister are all in that game. And we have a lot of fun where we kind of run around in a city, like kind of what you'd imagine, but kind of more abandoned. And they've gotten themselves into a bit of trouble recently and are with some people who they're not excited to be with right now. But it's super fun. So we'll be there Sunday. It's session 19, I think we're on this Sunday.
That's crazy.
And yeah, we've been going for a good amount. It's on YouTube if you would like to do that. The link to that is on Marquee Gaming's YouTube, or it's on their Twitch channel. It's in the About section. But yeah, I'm Marquee Gaming, so you can head over there if you are interested in seeing us there.
You can point right down below you for your wonderful socials. Yeah, look at that interactive niche. Yeah, super exciting. Mark is an amazing DM. We've been having so much fun. So please follow him if you're not. Have something to do on the weekends. It's super amazing. And of course, he's going to be super nice to Renan, because now I get to DM for Zach.
Now you get to hold that over me.
All right, we're going to jump right into it, back into Dice Antics. You guys were here last time. A quick recap. We introduced two of the four players, Meikai, played by D, and Kahurangi, played by John. Tonight we're going to be introducing the other two as we come back in to our lovely cliffside overhang. An old, bone-worn professor who's had to teach generations and generations of students who don't listen to his history lessons over and over again. All right, enough dilly-dallying. I've said enough stories. We do have some teaching to get through, do we not? Humbug. So, when did we leave? Yes, the Divide. Now, you've all heard that when the king of Organia, King Taurus, was killed, it sparked a civil war among the land of human and primordial races that broke a peace that had lasted over 100 years. As we spoke of the creation of the world, Remember we spoke of the cycle of influence of the corrupted magic. Darkness. It spread upon the land, and all the primordials were exited to the east, and the humans were recalled back to the west as the civil war broke out upon the land. Surprisingly, the champions had mysteriously vanished, gone from public eye, shortly after the death of the king. Many still teach that they were responsible, having been corrupted themselves to be the cause of his death, though there is not a soul alive still today that seems to know the truth of what happened that dark, dark day. Due to the champion's disappearance those decades following, darkness and corruption spread through the lands, quickly making safe forests now ravished with dangerous creatures. Kind and intellectual races fell into squabble and despair as the mind became corrupted to the dark affinity themselves. Even the landscape itself seemed to have changed quickly. The resource-laden land of the dwarves, the large monuments turned into a wasteland of death and decay. The luscious former forest and waterlands of the elvish plains dried up and now are left a desert wasteland not hospitable to many anymore. And in front, the girl that had been paying attention, bright-eyed and with blue hair that almost seems to float as she's listening, her skin almost misty as if she's like just ran through a sprinkler or something. But she goes, oh, that's where the third champion was from, right? Or at least that's what I read at least. And as you look upon the different children here that are in this classroom, there's one kid who's literally just sitting there making bubbles. The other one looking out with like a glazed over look just outside the window until the girl brings up about it, the champions. The professor, seeing the excitement, not for his lecture, but for the bringing up of the champions. Yes, the Spear of Storms herself, right. He's looking around, and I assume you would rather hear about the other champions then. And everyone goes, yeah, tell us about them, they're the coolest. Fine, here we go. Just remember, kids, not all stories start the greatest. Remember that even though these champions, you know them for the grandiose legends and the adventures of their heroic sacrifices, even the brightest diamond must begin with hardships and turmoil. These champions even more so than anyone else that I ever knew. So let us start with Zachary. And that is where we will join up with you, Zachary. As last game, we were focused in the southern region with the Kalishtar, and then went into New Organia to follow Makai, who had left the mountains in the south, traveled all the way to the north. We also find ourselves here in New Organia, the capital. Let me switch over. Yes, so Zachary, just remember these stories, that the lesson that you can take from it. Sometimes the outside threats can be just as dangerous as the enemies that attack the mind. And almost interjecting into this vision of our story, you hear the girl's voice. But wait, his family, weren't they all? Yes, my child. It was a dark time for him, but let us start at the beginning. Zachary, why don't you actually start with a description of yourself, as you are standing in a middle of stables, preparing some leather work and a new saddle as you start drifting off into a little bit of a memory/daydream.
All right. Well, Zachary, he is a young man, a 17-year-old Aesmar. He's got dirty blonde hair. He stands about 6'1", and he's got a very athletic and attractive look to him. He looks very pristine. I mean, he clearly takes care of himself and makes himself look very presentable. Working in a stable might seem a little strange because that could be a little more dirty work, but he wears fine clothes everywhere, makes sure his clothes looks nice, his hair looks good. He's got a little bit of stubble on his face as well. But I mean, he's a kid, and he's a bit on the edge of adulthood, so he's feeling that pull between both at this point.
Perfect. Yeah, and as you stand there, you slowly go to adjust this. What do you call it? I keep on calling it a scarf. Is it a scarf or a shawl? What would you call the red
You can just call it a scarf. That's fine.
scarf? Okay. Yeah, this ornate, ceremonial esque scarf that he wears, draped over from one shoulder, connected at a brooch with gold inlay. You almost grab it with your fingers and feel the well crafted and knitted textures, even though the rest of your very fine clothes, having to work in the stables, you work your most to try and keep it from getting dirty, but especially your scarf. Your mind goes back to home, and to show everyone real quick, home is Celestia, floating islands above a large crater with many ornate architecture. And Zachary, your mind goes back to the large white marble pillars inlaid with golden, almost runaic and historical runes and stories of the creations and the avatars when they walked the earth. These pillars connected all throughout the varying islands that were connected. Each of these floating rocks, all held aloft by large arcane crystals that connected the bottom of each pillar, keeping these large floating islands above the rest of the land. Remnants of the golden age when the primordial avatars walked the earth among the mortals. Among the mortals. I still can't say it. And I did sleep today, kinda. These avatars taught the mortals many advanced technologies and magics, especially the Aasimars being very much one of the primal races between humans, and then Aasimars were two of the first that were ever created. And they taught them many technologies and magics, which ever since the avatars left this plane, these arts were slowly forgotten and magic became much more and more rare. Only a fifth of the people, not even just in Celestia, but all across the land, have even access to magic anymore. And even if so, are very low-end, barely functional and lesser spells, unless those that have studied their entire life and focus to master their specific craft. Remembering the glint of the sunrises as it rises above the horizon, hitting your landscape. Zachary, you remember your own family island where you ran around as kids, and your family and your intermediate family would all live together in harmony, and all the amazing buildings that you used to call home, and remembering holding on to your scarf, what your mother gave you, a small parcel before saying goodbye, tears in her eyes as she clutches your hands and puts one hand on your cheek. She says, "Distance cannot ever take away for family if you just hold on to hope." And you remember opening that parcel to this red ornate scarf, ceremony representative of the family line in your culture of Celestia, but to an outsider just a normal yet very nice scarf. And you can see inlaid on the inside is your family name, and then after it says hope in Celestial. Snapping out of it, you come back to the drab inside of a stable as we go flashback to the capital of the humans, New Organia. A very drastic aesthetic difference. Even though the architecture here is quite old and archaic and beautiful, it doesn't rival anything on Celestia, especially to your likings. Where you live now is drab, and even on the outskirts of the upper city in the middle city, you're inside of a stable, as we said, attached to a smaller but decently decorated villa. You are just now finishing restocking the hay and preparing the leather straps and saddle for the return of Layetta, the Knight Inquisitor that you had been assigned ever since arriving here, living in the State Ward building that you have. You have been assigned to work, even though you can go to school with the other commoners. You have found yourself quite bored, and your education far above the commoner peasants who learn very little higher education and just enough to get by to possibly read or to go out and eventually work in the fields or start a craft. Most of the kids after schooling in the morning are assigned to go out and work as apprentices or just, helping the different merchants here with whatever they need. Child labor, I guess, right? But yes, you had been assigned to basically be the squire for Layetta, the Knight Inquisitor, as she is expected, to return home tonight. So you're preparing everything for her return to the city, as she's been gone for quite a while. You had gone shopping out to the market earlier, stocking her home with fresh bread and foods. And as you walk in to place everything down, you find a note on the desk. Do you read it?
Yes, I'll pick up and read it.
To the desk of Lady Layetta, the Silver Dove, and also her squire Zachary, we require the need of scribing 3 more scrolls to be then delivered to the ancient hall upon your next deployment. Signed, Arcanist Turin. You can hear his voice in your head as the Arcanist, who has, as the family friend, the contact here, the reason why you have been sent here directly, has been almost a mentor to you, being able to give you different studies and work to fix your boredom, per se, in the regular schooling here. He, knowing with your the many different languages that you know, he gives you a lot of jobs to scribe them, to switch them over, to translate them for that, and in return ends up sneaking you different books and scrolls reading about the arcane arts, something that very rare of the wards here even could understand or get to. There is a second letter, scribed not as officially, but scribbled, Zachary, to be ready at dawn, 2 horses prepared, and we'll meet at the southern gate. Day excursion, no excuses, mandatory. Layetta. She had sent this ahead, and it was brought in with that. And I am having notifications. Sorry. I don't know why I have them all of a sudden. Let me try and fix it real quick, guys. Don't know why it's going off. All right, I'll fix that later. And within the bag that holds the 3 scrolls that Arcanist Turin is giving to you to transcribe, there's also a weathered book cracked at the binding that says Intermediate Study of the Arcanic Affinities and Their Established Schools, Edition 5 in Roman numerals. Well, not Roman numerals in this land, but And a small note in there that says, slow down, I'm beginning to worry I'll run out of study books for you. As you're kind of looking over all of this, the sun is now setting, starting to go down into the horizon. The beginnings of night are just now beginning to draw against the auburn sky. Usually about this time, once you finish up, you head home to finish up and do what else, unless you have anything else you would like to do in the city. Or anything here.
So I transcribed the scrolls already?
It's something that is kind of like a project. Basically, you kind of work on that over, a few, like a week or two, and then you return them to either Layetta or the Arcanist. So it's not something that has to be done
Okay.
right now. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, I will pack up all the things, make sure the house is in order, lock up, and grab the book and kind of be reading that as I walk through the town. It's kind of with my nose in there, looking up to make sure I don't bump into anybody, but very interested in learning more because I'm always excited to get my hands on some books, something to read.
Sure, definitely. Go ahead and roll me I'm going to do a double roll. Perception check with disadvantage and Arcana check. Zachary's first rolls, reading.
Here we go. Okay, so my perception with disadvantage first. Well, I rolled a 20 on one die, but that's gone. It'll be a 13.
Said 13 for which one?
13 for my perception.
13 for perception, all right. Yeah, there's a few people that you were about to run into, and without even looking, you just kind of move around. You're the one that seems to be moving in and out of this crowd. No one really seems to pay you attention, except for a few just like weird disdained looks, but your image is enough human that no one really double glances to you.
And then Arcana, you said?
Yep. There goes the sorcerer. He's reading.
That'll be 18.
18. Perfect. Yes, you're definitely able to quickly catch upon a school of magic, especially one that interests you into different light and fire magics that you always feel drawn to. It's kind of the easiest magic that you have been able to, in your small time studying and the few spells and magics that you can use yourself. That's kind of like quickly the chapter you go to and you start reading through. But yeah. So you make your way home, right?
On the way home,
Mm-hmm.
just with some pocket change, can I stop at like a bakery and get 2 cookies?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Your sister Iris assists and works in a bakery, so you can head over to Kylie's Bakery, which is kind of on the way between Layetta's and the State Ward, the large, almost like apartment-esque tavern inn that's established just for those that don't have a home here, those that are being assigned by the city to be protected until you're of age.
Okay. So yeah, I'll pop in and go see my sister. And
Perception check, please.
That is a natural 1.
Natural 1. Yeah, you definitely don't notice anything about the inn across the street. So you are studying head in the book as you open up the door. Ding, 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 ding. We're closed. Oh, I'm sorry, Zachary. Hello. How can I help you?
Hi. Is Iris here?
No, she actually left just a little while ago to go home. She was finished with everything. I let her go early.
Oh, okay. Well, can I get 2 cookies to go then, please?
Certainly, definitely. Your favorites?
The girls' favorites.
Of course. She turns around and she gets an angel cake and a few assortments of her own special blend, a cinnamon type cookie. And she ends up putting 6 in there. Just kind of handing it to you.
What was her name again?
Kylie, Kylie. You can see that her apron's off and she's kind of like starting to clean up and close down the store. But she is very much so looking exhausted, tired. And you see the wagon that she uses to deliver is filled with treats, bread, all this kind of stuff that looks like she's about ready to make a delivery.
Well, you look like you're going to be busy tonight.
Quite, very much so. I'm blessed that the royal family is, contracted work for me tonight, but it's quite a lot. But thank you. I made a few extras, and you are more than happy to help yourself to anything else here. It's be stale by the morning, I'm sure.
Oh, you're too kind to us, Kylie. Thank you.
Of course.
Have a good evening.
Good evening to you. Was that a new book there?
Yeah. Just some light reading,
Yes, I do love the fictional books myself. They are amazing stories of just far off lands and adventures. But anyways, yes, I do need to get going. Farewell, be safe.
Yes. Goodbye. I'll turn and head out.
All right, perfect. Where are you headed?
I will go back home, I guess.
Okay. You head back up towards the street, heading past the inn across the intersection. And as you look over, you notice that their sign of the breaking dawn has been broken. And you already know, as your time in the city, small kids, vandals, looks like that whatever the sun sign has been broken into what looks like now like a waning moon or waxing moon, I don't know the difference. A really small eclipse, but like jagged as if it wasn't done on purpose. And you can see that they've just recently painted over in wet paint the breaking dawn image, and it now says the eclipsing moon, whatever I said last time. the waning moon, the waning moon.
Okay.
And you kind of just chuckle, being like, well, that's resourceful. But you continue walking further. It is now definitely starting to turn into nighttime. And you look around, and you being here, especially with your magics and talking with Arcanist Turin, you see that the different, what would be torches in a lot of other places, are posts that are surrounded by glass and have arcane stones in there that seem to work like light. They are stones that are enchanted as light and power all throughout the city that helps illuminate a lot of the streets, and especially the more you get into the city. You walk just into the gate into the mid city from the lower outskirts, and right as you do, to the left is a fairly decent building, yet starting to crumble in a few places. The paint starting to scratch, vines kind of coming up in one, and it just says, New Organia State Ward East Entrance. But you go in. This is not quite as fancy as Celestia, but this is home.
Yeah, he kind of looks up at it with a sigh as he heads towards the door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you open it and you just hear, late again. All the stew's gone, boy. You are late. There's bread left for you. Going to bed. And you see Lady Teralta, the maiden of the house, an old... you can find many words for her. She's not very nice lady. She's very mean and self-interested. But she gives you a place to stay. She keeps you guys fed. Things like that. She's not your favorite, though, by any means. But she's kind of in her own shawl. And as she's like walking off back to you, not even like saying hello or looking at you, she's kind of going off into her own room. But she was just waiting up, making sure that you did arrive home.
Okay. Well, I will grab some bread and then find my sisters.
Fantastic. You go to grab it. It's stale. It's like hardened. And it's obviously she left you the worst part of it. But you head upstairs.
Good thing I got some cookies.
Yeah, exactly, right? Cookies for dinner. You head upstairs, and you walk through the various hallways, and there's kids running around, a couple people your age. No one that you've really connected with, that you relate to. No one has your sense of pride on their looks. They all are grungy, dirty from working in the fields. You just kind of keep on reading and walking through. You make it to the second floor, or the third floor, so the second of the rooms. This is all just kind of like rooms on both sides of the hallway. And yours is the first on the left. Your door is open, and you can see in all of your belongings are perfectly neat, tidy, in place where they're supposed to be. And you look over to your right, and your sister's room, the one right across the room, the door is closed.
I will go over to the door and knock on it.
Hello?
Hey, it's me, Zachary. Let me in.
Oh, and you just hear this pop, 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 pop. And click, click, and a chain that usually locks the doors, which not too surprising at night. You're kind of surprised that she's locked it this early. You see the door crack open a little bit, and you see your sister Iris standing there. And, Zachary. And she unhooks it and opens the door and kind of lets you in.
Are you hiding here? What's going on? Why did you lock the door?
Oh, come in. Give me an insight check.
That will be 15.
15. Iris is very much the fun-loving, charismatic, sweet sister that has gotten very close to you, especially in recent time. You both look over the youngest of the three of you here, Katrina, as Katrina's been the one that has taken your time here the hardest and is the quietest. So you both kind of have taken a protective look over her. So Iris and you know, even though you are very much protective of her, is kind of your best supporter. Tonight she just looks worried and distracted, and her eyes keep on darting to the door, and as soon as you enter, she just closes it again and puts the lock on.
What's wrong? What happened?
Nothing. And you can tell she keeps on diverting her eyes. She's not really looking at you directly. It's just a few of the other kids were they're just bullying me a little bit, just normal stuff. But Zach,
What?
I'm worried about Katrina. And you look over and there's two beds. The quickest one is kind of well made, but in the other one you see your youngest sister, Katrina, laying in there. Looking like where you're standing, like she's asleep.
Okay. I'll walk over to her, and does she look ill or anything, or is it
Roll me medicine check.
okay? 18.
By the way, guys, I really have the whole Beating the Beast soundtrack in my head now, and it won't go away. Thanks, I appreciate it. But yeah, your medicine check is on point. You look down and you see she's definitely paler than normal, which is saying something for you guys. You guys have a very much of a pale skin tone here. And you can see that her forehead is sweating a little bit. You put the back of your palm to it, and it is slightly warm. She definitely seems to be coming down with some sort of fever, and you can tell that has the chills a little bit. She definitely seems to be coming down with some sort of sickness. Yeah, and Iris is kind of walking at the end of the bed, and she goes, "She's been sick since this morning," kind of whispering to you. I came back late, but I guess she was sent home from school. I'm just worried for her. Is she okay?
Has Teralta said anything about her? Does she know?
Are you asking this of Iris?
Yes.
No. Well, she just kind of said go to bed and sleep it off. But I made sure to bring up some stew, and you can see a stew that's been untouched. She hasn't eaten any of it.
I'll just say, well, who knows if this is going to work, but I'll just put my hands kind of onto her and do my healing hands, and it pumps in 1 HP of healing into her.
All right, I love it. Yeah, you do. The whole room illuminates with this golden glow, almost even outpowering the small little candle you have. Iris, you can see the reflection in her eyes as she's looking at very intently, wondering what's going to happen. Glow boy's glowing, and you look down and you can see a small cut on her elbow, like just a simple scrape that kids get while playing. Heal up, and you kind of wait a couple moments. From what you're seeing, it doesn't seem to have any effect on her fever or whatever's going on.
This is concerning. I'll try to wake her, to try to talk to her.
Yeah, she opens up her eyes a little bit. She was sleeping, She goes, "Oh, hi."
Hey, what's up? You okay?
And she just kind of looks up at you, little dark circles around her eyes. She goes, "I'm just really tired."
When did you start feeling sick?
Um, like this morning.
Anything happen?
Again, she's very
Was she
quiet.
was she all right this morning? Like before we all left for school and work?
You didn't really like look her over for necessarily like a fever. Like you weren't like specifically looking. And she's very quiet and introverted already, but you kind of start thinking back, and she was starting to look a little pale. Um, but kind of to your, especially with your medicine check. I mean, this is, you guys have been sick before. This could just be a common cold or a sickness going around the city. Just something that, maybe she's just exhausted and just needs, just some rest. It's been, you guys are new to the city. It's a different season or a different, forest
Okay.
and all that kind of stuff here. Yeah.
With the medical role that I had, do I have any sense of what kind of sickness this is? Like a serious one? Does it seem like it's just
And
common?
yeah, from what you can see in her symptoms now, it seems very common. Nothing points out
Okay.
and be like, oh my god, there's rashes. She's dying to the plague or
Okay.
anything like that. Yeah.
Well, I'll just be like, you should try to eat a little bit before going to bed. It's gonna give you some strength to heal up, and you can get back out there and have some fun at school.
Okay. And you kind of see like the telling her to have fun at school is not getting to her, but she reaches over into her bed and she grasps her little doll that she has, and she's like, oh, okay. And Iris kind of steps forward and she goes, I'll help her, and starts feeding her some of the chili. And you guys kind of sit there just for a little bit. She takes a few bites, and again, you can kind of tell her appetite's a little off, but Iris turns to you and she goes, "Big brother, maybe I could stay home from school and work tomorrow to take care of her." Yeah.
Why don't you want to go to work?
Well, I don't want to. I don't want to leave her here alone.
Was it those kids that were mean to you? Is that something you're afraid of?
No, yeah, no. It's. I just worried about Katrina. I just want to make sure she's okay. You don't have to worry about me. I know you have a lot of stuff to worry about, and I know you're taking care of us. So I just want to take care of Katrina. She doesn't say Katrina. She calls her Caddy.
I know you want to do this, but I mean, we gotta do our jobs. We gotta stay focused. Can't we can't just stay home from work. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, but even when she's sick, I mean, I'll go back. I'll go back the day after. Just one day, please. You see her. She like kind of tugs on your shirt a little bit. Just almost like pleading.
Tell me what
with you.
happened first. Tell me who these kids were.
It's just some stupid boys. They like to play rough a little bit. They just pushed us around when we're playing ball. It's fine. It's not that. It's our.
Wait, when were you
worried
playing
about
ball?
her.
Weren't you at work today?
At school?
Oh, before.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you know that they go to school in the morning, and about noontime they eat lunch and then go off to various work. A lot of the boys got into the fields, into the farms. Iris is really lucky to have been apprenticed by a bakership. It's not very extensive labor. It's actually something she enjoys doing. She her. She likes to bake and cook. Katrina's a little too young to be working yet. I mean, they don't really work, but to be going out and working as apprentices. Katrina still stays in school, and then they come back to the ward home a lot earlier.
Okay. I'll say,
Fantasy
okay,
drink
well,
available at every tavern if you want to sponsor me. Go ahead.
say, well, I brought you guys some cookies. If you guys want them, and I'll put 4 cookies over for them.
We kind of just see Iris like, see, Katrina, you'll be okay. I got cookies for you. Yeah, she seems very worried, but from what you're picking up, it's again probably Katrina and just whatever's going on.
And I'll just say, do you guys want me to stay in here with you tonight?
No, it's okay. We know you're right across the room. Unless you want to.
Do you feel more comfortable?
You kind of see Iris. There's a little bit of like the switch from worried and kind of like looking around too. There's a bit of pride of, like, no, I can take care of it. We're good. You see the drive and fire in her to be protective, and she's definitely grown up a lot more than she would have at home. Let's put it that way, being here.
Okay. Well, you let me know if you need anything.
So I can stay
if
home
those
tomorrow?
boys come mess with you.
Fine. But if Kylie says so, can I leave early and come back and check on Katrina?
Only if Kylie says it's okay. She
Okay.
had a big delivery she had to do today. She's going to need you.
Yeah, that's today, not tomorrow.
Yeah, but who knows what could come tomorrow.
All right.
She's popular. She does a lot of business.
She is really cool.
I'll be across the hall. Be working on some of my scroll writing, so
Okay.
let me know if you need anything.
And she walks over and she hugs you, grabs you tight around
I'll
the
give her a
waist.
hug back. I'll go over and give Katrina a hug too, and tell her good night and to rest up.
She doesn't really seem to hug you back, but kind of leans in, kind of like for like a forehead kiss. Yeah. Iris seems to cling like a second longer than normal. Nothing too crazy, but there's just a little bit of a long hug before she lets go. Thank you for taking care of us, Zachary.
I know. I'm trying to get things set before I turn 18. We'll have our own place soon enough. Yeah.
You're gonna be the best magic user in the world.
I'll pull out the book and be like, that's the hope.
You can see that she like cool, but does not understand or comprehend anything about that book.
And I will tuck in Katrina and tell Iris goodnight too, and walk back across the hall.
Perfect. Sure. It is quite late, and especially after this conversation as well. You have a few hours, maybe of candlelight, to be able to
I can cast light too with a cantrip.
Yeah, very much so.
So,
but you also know that Leida told you to be ready at dawn in the morning. So just kind of
True.
keeping that in mind. If you want to stay up late or all that, you just know that you do have a day excursion tomorrow, which for Leida telling you that a day excursion is not anything that takes you necessarily out of the realm of New Organia. Maybe a quick outside the gates into maybe somewhat of the forest land, but then you're back by the end of the day. Being a very much younger squire, you're not like her official one, but kind of like her one in the city. So, and she knows that you have the sisters here, so you're never like really gone that long. It's never more than a day.
Mm-hmm. How far is the school from here? Just curious.
The school that they would go to would be not far off, maybe a few blocks from here. They are in not like the upper town elitist school that where like the nobility would go, but very much so like midtown, public school, roughing it up, type of school.
Yeah. So I will just write a note to prepare for the morning. I'm gonna plan on swinging by just before I head out to meet with names. Leetta.
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 Lady
Um,
Leetta, as you know
Lady
her.
Leetta.
Mhm.
I will write a note just to the teacher, just to say, hey, watch out for Iris. And apparently there's some boys who are being mean to her. So,
Sure, definitely. Yeah, that's definitely something that can be prepared and accepted. So,
and then I'll
um,
go off to bed.
okay. You said you're working on any of the scrolls or not tonight?
I mean, I might get a bit of a start, but not going to stay up too late.
Okay. Yeah, you see one. One is to be described from Elvish, from the Forest dialect into Common. Another one from the Dwarven Common Tongue, and then a second or the third one from the Dwarven Runic dialect. You are kind of what makes you very valuable to the Arcanist is that you are someone that knows Dwarven, which is very, very rare, especially for this city. So, but yeah, you go to bed. You have a very uneventful sleep. You're very, you're a little worried, concerned about your sisters, but you wake up rested in the morning. You wake up before any of the girls do, and most of the other kids, as they would go to school after dawn. You're getting up before, taking a few extra minutes to stop by the school. No one's really there yet, but there is like a mail slot where you could leave it for the headmaster there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just slide it in there and go off to meet Lady Leetta.
Lady Leetta. Perfect. So
I'll
you...
make sure I have my staff with me too.
Okay. Yes. Describe the staff for me.
So I have this staff. It's made of white wood, and it's very smooth and just kind of goes up to the top where encased in it is a yellow garnet, and just kind of wrapped in these pieces of wood around it.
Fantastic. Oh, awesome. So you grab that. You stop by Lady Leia's villa. She's not there, but you prepare both of the horses, and she had told you to meet her at the southern gate. So you take both horses and start walking them to the southern gate, and there you see standing Lady Leetta, also commonly known one of the Knights Inquisitors that are well known in the land. They are the royal knights oathed to protect the realm, and they don't serve any of the kingdoms. They are their own entity, created to serve and protect the ways of the Ancient One from the beginning of time. So there's the militia here that are kind of like trained, and then the upper step is the Inquisitors, which give me a quick history check with your intellect.
Natural 20.
Natural 20. Then. Yeah, definitely. You've read up on the Inquisitors. You were like, oh, who is this woman? There are 100 Inquisitors at any time. It is very much a ranked system where when one retires, when one dies, the next one in line takes over that position. Each of these Inquisitors could have people underneath them as like junior Inquisitors per se, or like different members who are training to eventually hopefully become in this high position as Inquisitor. And you also know, if I go to my Inquisitor lore, it is, so the 100 that keep law and archive the history of the land, it is ran by Valis, Valis, the head cardinal of the Inquisitors. You've never seen him before, but you have read that he is the one in charge. So,
okay.
But yeah, as you walk forward, you see 3 Inquisitors, that's something. They don't often congregate together, at least from what you've seen. Maybe like Leietta's partnered up with one other one, but not often. So Lady Leetta, she's wearing silver armor with a silver dove inscribed. Very caring brunette hair that goes down to the shoulders, soft cheeks, and warm brown eyes. A band of silver headband that she wears, and a long a shield and a long sword. The one that she is talking to right now. You see he is actually the head Inquisitor. So under Valus, he is like the top Inquisitor. He's number 1 out of 100. Raidurius, he has a red dragon symbol on his chest, red armor. He has blue eyes, a charming smile, and a charismatic, jovial air about him. And he's kind of chatting it up. He's obviously the one that everyone is paying attention to the center. And then the third one, you've never seen him before, but he has brown armor with blue like accent, and you see a golden eagle. He's like a larger built, black hair, and a little bit more stern. You see him just kind of listening in as you walk up and lay it. Zachary, thank you so much. You are perfectly on time. Thank you. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
And see Raidurius, which you've met him a few times, and he's told you to call him Rai. And he's like, haha, good day. You're looking fine as always, I would say.
Pleasure to see you again, Rai.
And he introduces over, and he's like, and this is Sir Witt, Witt. He is meeting us here as well, but we are missing our fourth. Leia, didn't you tell him to be here on time? And you hear, so they're all kind of like at the gate, and literally 5 feet behind you, arms crossed, like kind of leaning up against a post. You did not see him as you're walking up. And you just hear this, I've been here the whole time. And all 3 of them turn around and are shocked, and like this voice emanating, and then all of a sudden they see him. Sir Aelund, you always sneak up on us on like that. It's so weird, so amazing. When did you get here? You just got here. I've been here the whole time. I was here first. And there's just like, it's just creepy. It comes across monotone. His eyes are bugged out. He has this very pale skin, taut to the bone. And on his imagery, his armor, it's all black armor with a symbol of like a worm almost type thing, and it's a slight dark purple to it. But he has like this greasy black hair that goes back to his shoulders, and it just looks like he hasn't seen the sun ever, even though he's standing in it. But as he's standing in the shadows of this corner, it's almost like he melds into the shadows, as if the shadows are his home turf, you could say. He gives you a little chill up the spine. Sorry, I'm putting words together. Compared to the rest, we're a lot warmer and stuff like that. Haha, right. Sir Aelund, always being there. Right. And you can just see Rye just having nothing good to say. Well, we're all here. Are we ready to go? And Laeta acknowledges, and she turns to you. She goes, we're doing a quick excursion today. Just escorting a high-value friend. Inquisitor only knowledge, of course. I hope you understand. And you can see a carriage waiting there right inside the gates. A few more royal guards than normal, but it's kind of closed off, and you can kind of see it there. So Laeta gets on the horse and goes in position to kind of flank one side, rise on the other side. Wit goes in front, and Raylund in the back. And kind of like with your excursions, even though you've never had 4 Inquisitors, you are to line up kind of on the inside of Laeta and kind of be at her side.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Are you doing anything else? Any questions, or are you just kind of going along with it?
So she's on the side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My
You're
inquisitive side.
right next to the carriage as well.
Yeah, being right next to the carriage, my inquisitive side is gonna try to be peeking in to see who's inside of it.
Sure.
Not like move anything, but I'm gonna just be looking for any indicators.
Who's in here? Roll me a perception check.
Wow, 18.
18, nice. Yeah, the window curtains seem to have been closed, but there's one that's parted a little open, and you can look in, and you see 2 figures on the inside. One is sitting on the far side, and it's still kind of like in the shadow. She's like this figure's on the inside of the carriage, so you can't really see any details of the person. But the one right near the window, all of a sudden you see turn and look directly at you. It is Arcanist Turin, your own mentor, and you kind of just see him with a small little grin and a touch to his nose in, I see you, and you just
Give him a little wave.
yeah, and Layetta just kind of like elbows you a little bit, kind of like
Sorry.
stand with proper, like kind of admonishing you for for doing that. But yeah, anything else you wanted to do? The gate starts opening, and Rye goes, "Well, let's get this over with." Hiya! And starts taking off the carriage with the driver in front. Just a very well-dressed, simple, mid-aged man with shortish brown hair, little flecks of gray, weathered skin, but just kind of like a little hooked nose. Just kind of putting the two horses forward with the carriage, starting to move.
Okay.
And just kind of
So
following.
we're just watching out later.
Sure. Yes. Just keep your eyes open. You know how everything's safe here. This is just for protection, but anytime we're outside of the gates, we are going to go into the forest, and you do know some of the creatures there can be at times dangerous, but this time of the year it's no harm. It's going to just be a quick day, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
You guys start traveling through like the merchant area. You pass by the bakery, which is at this point it's still closed. You pass by the inn on the other side, and you guys start heading out from the outskirts of the city. Not too far. I'd say it's been about an hour's ride, and you guys start to make the outskirts of the city proper into the actual forest and path, the main trade route here. And as you do, you notice, almost glancing at each other with a nod and without speaking any words, you see Layetta stays near the carriage, but Wit seems to go on ahead, almost scouting ahead, and you see Ryderius almost go off the path, and you see them taking a very strategic flanking route. You look behind you, and Raylan's not there, so he's probably gone into another position as well. But yeah, you guys take about an hour, and then start. You see the carriage start taking a turn to the right, going back west into the forest towards the mountains, and I follow it for another 30 minutes or so, going through the forest, and you guys come into this beautiful opening that clears out into a little bit of a the trees open up into like a field, you could say, or like an opening, but there are stoned, I wouldn't say fences, but it's stoned off in a very ornate white marble, and you realize you're entering into the Royal City Cemetery as the carriage enters in, and Layetta stops at the entrance, kind of holding up her hand to stop you there. Just wait here. And she gets off, opens up the carriage door to let out Arcanist Turin, who turns and hands out his hand to let someone, to help whoever the other person is. And you see a younger female, you would say just slightly older than you, strikingly beautiful, pointed features, soft skin, bright red fiery hair pulled back in an ornate fashion, and she is wearing red and gold inlaid robes, but it's also functional armor. It's really beautiful and well crafted, and you picture and pick up on the brooch that she's wearing that this is the symbol of the royal family. Not that you've seen her before, but you get the idea this is probably the queen to be, Alana Terrace, as she steps out, and she has a very, I want to say serious, but focused look. She doesn't look at you. She doesn't look at Leetta at all. She kind of just nods and starts walking up towards the path to grave sites. And
I feel like I'm definitely just staring at her, like almost gawking kind of thing.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and if you do that, there's a bit of a second where there's just a look, and just almost like a look of ignoring you quickly as she just kind of continues on. Yeah, this is the princess of the land, the queen to be, that this royal festival, the royal ascension, is planned for tonight, where the stewards of the city who had been taken over since King Taurus had been here are now going to start the process of crowning her queen. She won't take control today, but it's the process of kind of going into the queenship in the next few years. But you see her walk forward, and she seems to be walking up and giving a flower and just time with 2 graves. And the statue you see before you is one of the king, the former king of Organia, King Taurus. The same of the statue that's within the city. But Arcanist Turin kind of nods over to you and, good to see you, boy. Did you fancy the reading tonight?
Oh yeah, it's really interesting.
Good. It's quite the job that they've sent you on today. You're making your way up, boy.
Apparently, it's the hope. To keep getting better.
So, I mean, and Leietta's kind of off. She's very serious, very much in work mode. She's off and guarding. So, Zachary, have you thought about what we've spoken about? You're almost 18. What do you want to do? What are you going to be focusing on? You could, try and be an arcanist like me, but you do know they're not going to let you into the elitist school here, at least. But an inquisitor, you could learn to fight and be a protector of the realm. And you kind of see like it's not what I do, but if that's something you want to do.
Yeah, I got family to protect. You know that.
Right, yes. Your great-grandfather was a great friend of mine. We've spoke many magics. You are blessed to have been deemed worthy by the affinities to have magic like him, but taking care of them, protecting them, you can't stay in the wards this whole time. Are you going to stay in your Organia, or, you'll have to take care of them somehow.
Yeah. I guess I'll just keep my sister safe for now. I don't know. I want to learn more about magics, but I can't leave my sisters.
You kind of see there's a sense of disappointment in him. Of he can see the potential in you, and it's just sad that like this is holding you back. And he kind of nods. He goes, "Of course, it's responsibilities come first, of course. But you do know if you are to study magic, it is a lifelong entail. I've been doing this many years, and I am not even close to any of the mages of Anali. Yeah. But of course, you have potential, boy. Don't doubt that, all right? And about this time, you start seeing. It's been about a good 20 minutes, and the queen to be Ilana stands up again, and she's about 50 feet away. Turns back towards you guys to walk out. That was quick. And you see him go back to the carriage, and he's kind of like, he does a little whistle to notify Leetta, which, interestingly enough, you hear Leetta do a series of whistles, and echoing from the forest, you hear 3 series of whistles come back as well. Doing anything else? Anything specific, or?
Just out of curiosity, just so I have it right, the grave, is it her father or grandfather or something
Her
like that?
father.
That should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know,
Okay.
especially living here enough, her father was the decorated last king of Organia. So he was the king before the divide.
Okay.
He was the last generation of champions who has not been seen in over 50 years. But he was the champion of light. And something happened and was killed. And that's kind of the murmur and legend of what happened. There's so many different rumors, but the main one that goes here in Organia is that the other champions of mainly the primordial and affinity based ones, because light is the primal and the other ones are the primordial. Especially here in Organia, the story is that the other champions were corrupted by the darkness. The darkness is the affinity, but it's kind of referenced as the shadow in this land, as the champions had been corrupted by the shadow, killing the king, and that is what sparked the Great Divide, the war between the primordials and the humans. That is very tense now today. Even though it has been peace, it's been tense peace, and there's a rising bubble of tension among the different kingdoms. You see her coming back and walking up. You had seen her wipe her face before she had turned, but as turning, you don't see, doesn't look like she's been crying. She's like very stoic and stern-faced, and as she's walking back towards you all, very focused again, she's very much almost seems always be thinking and something going on in her head. She looks at you and give me an insight check.
Sure.
Welcome to the party, Mammoth. What's up, bro?
That will be 13.
13. You get flustered for a second, as obviously this is the queen to be, but you're not sure what that look was. It is a very pointed look of something about you, whether it's curiosity, whether it's recognition. It's a pointed look at you, and a very judging look. It's almost like sizing you up.
Yeah, I will straighten up like real good and like kind of side eye glance and just.
Oh, she's looking at me. Yeah. You look back, and very quickly, you just see a slight eye roll and just this disdained look, and she goes straight for the carriage, and you just hear, "Let's go back." And oh, that was very good. It was very honorable, grateful of you to see your father on this day of reckoning. She's just already grabbing his hand, and then he goes, "Ah, very good, all right." And he taps his nose again to you and climbs into the carriage. And slowly, the driver starts turning around, and you kind of get the horses out of the way, and you guys start taking off again, leaving the forest, the cemetery, traveling the path back to the main road. Are you doing anything? Or how's your demeanor right now? How are you taking all this in?
Well, as we go, like I didn't see her take anything, like leave it at the grave, right?
Mm.
Okay. So yeah, I'll just kind of keep an eye out just for. I mean, I'm assuming I'm supposed to protect and watch over the carriage or somewhat. So I'm gonna just keep an eye out in the woods and see if anything's out there that I need to be aware of.
Sure. Give me a perception check as you guys. The carriage makes its way just on the edge of the forest, turning back onto the main trade routes.
Another 18.
18. Perfect. The carriage starts making its turn towards the main route, and as you're kind of watching the forest, and your mind was kind of wondering of just, who was the king, or, like wondering more about her, you do notice movement and shadows on the right side of the path just beyond the bushes there. With your high perception, Layetta kind of seems to be looking the other way at this moment.
I'm gonna look back to make sure the shadowy guy is still back there.
You don't see him.
Okay. I'll just kind of, Lady Leia. I'll kind of point up that direction.
Yes, Zachary. What? And she looks over.
Is that
on guard? And as soon as she says that, you see jumping from the shadows, and you hear 4 other moving shadows almost surrounding all of you. A large, white-furred wolf jump out, a dire wolf. And what you notice with your perception, though, is that it's slobbering and furiously growling, and the eyes and pupils are completely dark, with these almost electrical bolts of black shadow energy running back through its fur and body. This is very much not normal. You know what the wolves look like around here. This is normal. This is something else. And roll initiative, please.
Oh, man. Okay. 16.
All right. So 16. What's your dex?
That's a +1.
+1.
12 +1.
Okay. So it's going to be you, Zach, Anna, Rye, Raylan. Okay. As the carriage is now surrounded by 4 growling wolves, Leida's already unsheathing her sword as she is said, be on guard. She moves to the other side of this carriage to kind of like stand on either side of it. Leida goes first, and you see her. She yells out to you, and she says, "Don't let them get to the queen." And she's going to strike out to one of the wolves, and slicing through the middle of the wolf, you see a splurt of blood, but instead of red crimson, it's dark black blood that seems to almost singe as it hits the grass and almost react like acid on the plains. It looks injured, but it's still up as it kind of recoils and growling back. That is Leida, and then she goes for a second strike, and piercing through, you see it this time as right before it's about to jump back, her blade slices into the chest and heart of this wolf, as you hear this just a little bit of a whine as the wolf goes slump. So one seems to be down. So this is on the far side. There are 2 on your side, 1 still left on her side of the carriage. And springing out from the carriage, you see the door open wide, and out jumps not Arcanus Turin as you were expecting, but rather the queen to be the queen heir, Alana. She jumps out, serious faced, and you see her reach under the carriage and grab a large axe, and flipping it around, she goes, "I'll handle this," and she runs up to the first wolf and cleaves it square in the chest, as you just hear this cracking and as the wolf screams out. With your perception check earlier, you see a 3rd shadow coming from the forest in front of her as well. You feel like this is some sort of ambush, or there are more coming. It's very much a coordinated attack, it seems, from these wolves. But you are up next. Zachary, what are you doing? Do you have a wolf to your right, coming in kind of from behind the carriage to where you're at? To your left in front of you is Lady Alana with an axe embedded in a dead wolf, but a second one coming in front of her.
Okay. So, is there anybody, like any Inquisitors on my side besides...
You don't see anybody except Leida.
Okay. And she's on the opposite side.
Right. Yeah, and remember, ever since you left, Rye had gone up ahead, out of sight. Wit had gone the opposite direction of Leida, and Raylun had been behind you. So they all seem to have spread out far enough to not be seen from where you're at.
Okay. Um. So I guess I will run up, kind of towards, like, there's that shadow that's up ahead, and there's the one coming in. So I'm gonna try to like split the difference and try to get in between um the queen to be the princess and those two wolves coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And I will start by casting mage armor on myself.
Noise, noise. What does it look
Pull
like?
out my staff, and just kind of this golden glitter just begins to fall from it around me,
Noise.
and um, just kind of encases me in this armor. And I say, "You should get back in there. It's not safe out here." And I'll just kind of stand there in a defensive position.
Yeah, the gold glitter as it kind of like centers around you and glints out like reflections in the daylight. It centers around you in this armored arcane around you, and on the outlines of each armor it's almost like glowing like fire. It's beautiful. So yeah, you kind of stand there in defensive position and yell out to her. Um, she doesn't respond at the moment. But you, who's next? Yeah, so that would be next. You hear, sounds of steel and fighting in the woods up ahead and to the side of you. And then, you look back, and as the wolf lunges at you from the one from the backside of the carriage, you all of a sudden just see out of nowhere purple energy that blasts the wolf and pushes it back, hitting a tree, and standing there. And looking back, you can see, or when you look back, you don't see anybody there of this source of magic, but just something hit this wolf. And you're not quite sure what happened. But the second wolf, or the one, the shadows that we're making, you do see another wolf prounce out and jump out towards you. This one's going to try and make a bite attack to you. Does a 12 hit?
Not with my mage armor.
Nice. You kind of hold back the teeth with your staff, but the teeth and the drool is just raking up against your magical armor, sending out sparks of light, and almost like when a blacksmith is hitting metal, just like those sparks of fire and stuff like that, kind of scratching against your mage armor. Nice. You miss that bite as it goes to the top. Layetta, you hear her you hear a bit of a grunt, as it sounds like Layetta has gotten some sort of damage from a wolf that bit her on the other side, but you can't quite see her. It goes back to the queen, and you hear her, leave me alone, I got this, boy. And she kind of turns, and flipping around her axe, she goes to swipe at this wolf that's attacked you, but it jumped back, and she misses. As this happens, the wolf, she kind of goes off balance with one foot, as she had swung this large axe. You do notice, though, she seems to be very well trained, almost flowing with her movements. Really seems like she can definitely handle herself. But you notice out of the corner of your eye another shadow and a wolf leaping out to the back side of the queen. It is now your turn, and you feel a surge of magical energy and a heat that rises from your back, chilling, making the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, and your fingers are now buzzing, almost with some sort of energy. Like when you cast a spell, you can feel the surge, but this is almost like an overpowered as you look at this situation and are looking to protect the queen. What do you do?
I will, like, feeling that energy. It's just like, maybe, and I just like throw my hands out to see what happens.
Yes, and as you throw your hands out with a blast of magical energy that you have not cast before, you feel this heat and a flash of fire and explosion from your body as a flash of searing yellow, almost brighter than the day, seems to bubble out from you, hitting both wolves, and they cry out and cringe as you can now see them as the light fades. Their eyeballs are singed and burned and are almost smoking because as they've been burned, and they look stunned as they're kind of holding back. The queen, not even hesitating, one swift attack cleaves the head off of one wolf, turns around and cracks the chest of the center one. I said I had it, boy. She turns back to you just with this look of, what was that? You hear Layetta on the other side, and you see a flash of purple again. And as this happens, Layetta runs over to you guys. Are you okay? And you see blood dripping from one arm. And from the forest, you see Raidurius running up from the forest ahead. Wolves, attack! Oh. Well then. Looks like you handled that quite well. Is everyone okay? And you're just standing there in shock of whatever magic you just cast that you've never done before. Almost feeling the not exhaustion, but the you using that energy and still feeling the high of it flowing through you. It's expended, but you kind of look at your hands for a second and then snap out of it as Raidurius runs up to you.
So no more threats around that I can see?
Not that you can see. If you want to do a perception check, you can.
Yeah, let's take a quick look around.
Sure. Yeah, you're kind of looking around for any more threats.
That is a 3, so...
You're
very distracted.
You're looking at this. That? You're looking at the queen. You're looking at Layetta, and then you're looking at the wolves, and you can still see smoking and burned. Their eyeballs are no longer black, but reddened and scarred, as if like a branding of hot metal had hit across them. Obviously, carcassed and torn apart by the queen. But you look over at the queen, and she's just staring at you. You're not human, are you?
What are you talking about?
What are you? And from the carriage, Arcanist, that was exciting. Was everybody okay? And kind of distracted by this, she snaps out of it, just giving you this look of whatever. And she walks back to the carriage, wiping her axe off on the grass as if nothing really happened, and reattaching it to the bottom of the carriage, and climbs back in. But Layetta runs up to you, and she's kind of holding her arm. She's like, "Are you okay, Zachary? Are you okay?"
Yeah, hold on. And I put my hands up onto her, and I'll cast Cure Wounds on her wound.
Perfect. Yep. How much do you heal her for?
Let me roll that up. Wrong die. Okay.
Hot, sassy queen. You know it.
That is 9 points of health back.
9. She looks almost fully healed. The blood definitely stops. You hear a quick as her shoulder pops back in. But she definitely looks sore. She's like, thank you, Zachary. That's...
And I'll pump the last one of my healing hands into her as well.
It's actually really good. Thank you. And she turns, quickly going back into like work Inquisitor mode. She goes, Rye, what's status? Well, obviously, we freaking got ambushed by wolves. I mean, they're just creatures. They're standing out. But I took out 2. You're here. Where's Wit and Raylund? And you turn around, and standing there at the corner of the carriage, you did not see him this entire time, but almost standing there as if he's been here the whole time, you see Raylund standing there. Wit is deceased. He will not be joining us. We must get back. Very monotoned, unemotional. What? What do you mean dead? The wolves got him first. And you just see Layetta just distraught. Okay, wait, Raylund, where's his body? I'll go get him. No, we must get the queen back. That is our priority. And Rise... He's right, Leia. She's our priority. We have to go. And Leia just quickly turns around. We're not leaving him. He's one of us. What, are you going to leave him to the wolves to be eaten? And Rai just, we have a mission. Let's go. And quickly jumps back on his horse. You look up, and the carriage driver looks like he had been hurt and was bitten by one of the wolves. And you walk over to him, and he is dead. Leia just... Zachary, get on the carriage. Let's go. And she seems very much torn and angry, but kind of knows her place and knows that the mission is to get the queen back.
As I am next to the guy who probably dead, I know of a spell that I can try to make it so that he may not be dying. So I'll try casting Spare the Dying on him just to see if it does anything.
Sure, definitely.
But
you go to cast it, and as you look at the wound, it's not freshly flowing anymore. His face and body is cold. He's already dead. So you tried. Arcanist and Leia, though looking hurried, they quickly grab his body, and Arcanist comes over with a blanket and wraps him, and Leia kind of puts him on the back kind of storage area, you could say, just something to be held while you're moving. She goes, well, at least we're not leaving everybody. And she goes, let's go. And she jumps back on her horse. Arcanist jumps in, but you feel as the Arcanist walks past you, he grabs your hand, and you feel a surge of your ability to drive the carriage is a little better. Just your perception and your dexterity just seems to be a little bit more enhanced, you could say.
Okay.
Are you okay, Zachary? Boy.
This is a lot. But yeah, I'll try to get us back. I'll try to get us back to the city.
And you see him staring at you differently than he has before. And he goes, talk about that later. That outburst. Anyways, yes, let's go. And he walks back into the carriage, leaving you wondering why he seemed so reactionary about that. You're not sure why. It wasn't like a normal, oh, that's amazing, boy. He's very much supportive and encouraging you of spells before that he teaches you. And this seemed a lot more stern and, questionable. But yeah, you start heading back in. Leia is starting to, Ryan and Leia are now on both sides, kind of flanking it very close. They're not going off, but they're staying close to the carriage. Raylun is in back.
Okay. I will just say a little prayer before I start going to whatever my grandfather or my great-grandfather taught me about. And I will cast guidance on myself as I start to try to get us back as best as I can.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
You feel that prayer and the quick connection to Celestia, and you think about your great-grandfather and everything you've done, and you feel, again, blessed and connected to home. Go ahead and give me a animal handling check with advantage and plus what is it, D4 for guidance?
Yes, D4.
Yes, so advantage and D4 is you just feel a surge of divine light upon you.
Okay, so that ends up being a 17.
17, yeah. Very quickly, and you're not very skilled at the horse or carriage before, but you seem to focus in on this, and very quickly at a very hurried pace, very much like, Secret Service taking away president or something like that. You guys are flying back, and within time make it luckily safely back to the outskirts of the city, and you just hear Rai yelling, "Get out of the street! Get out of the way!" And you see, once or twice, people have to jump out of the way at the speed of this carriage going through. But eventually you make it back to the gate as you guys slow down. Everyone's adrenaline is still pumping. And as you make it in the front gate, Leia yells out to the guards, the queen has been ambushed. Guard, take her back to the castle. Rye, Rayland, you'll take care of that? And they look back, and Rye's given her a look of... You can just see, knowing what she's about to do. And just fine, just do what you need to do. And they end up slowing down, and one of the royal guards goes ahead and goes to take over the lead of the carriage from you. And he just walks up. He says, I'll take it from here.
Okay. I'll hop down.
Yeah, he very much is like shooing you off, kind of like, I don't know who you are. This is the queen. Arcanist tourist jumps out, and Leia and the Arcanist take the body and hand it to one of the guards, and she's explaining what's happening. But the carriage has already taken off. The knights have started escorting it back to the castle. And you're just standing there, just for the first moment since all this has happened, just catching your breath, and everything's slowing down. Leia turns to you and she says, take the horse back to the carriage. Or back to the villa. I'll be back. Just, you'll be fine. And she jumps on her horse and starts going back out of the city. She didn't say why, but give me an insight roll for her. You know her fairly well. You probably know what she's doing, but yeah.
12.
Okay. Yeah, it's good enough to know she's going back for Wit's body, obviously.
Yeah.
But Arcanist walks over and puts one hand on you and... Zachary, are you okay? You're not hurt, are you?
I'm not hurt, but this was a lot today.
It was. Look, let's get out of the streets, okay? The villa's not too far. Let's go back.
Okay.
And again, you see him he's just looking over at you, curiously, with some sort of, something's on his mind. You guys eventually get back to the villa. Your hands are shaking a little bit just from the adrenaline. You're able to tie up the horse, and Arcanist is already inside. As you walk in, he had poured you some water, and kind of just pointing to the chair to sit down within the villa, and he waits for you.
Okay. I walk in, but just with the adrenaline, I don't sit down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just got pace right now.
Oh, and another thing, when you guys were out in the carriage, you saw, as Arcanist was leaving the carriage, the queen had leaned into him and whispered something in his ear. You didn't hear it, but that you had seen that.
Okay.
But the Arcanist is just kind of sitting there and kind of takes a few sips of water, and he's just eyeing you. And you see the return to the jovial, calmness to him, but he's waiting for you just to pace and say something. He's letting you roll through the emotions.
At one point, I'll stop and close my eyes and just kind of picture home, feeling the scarf a little more. Turn to him and be like, why do you look at me? Why were you looking at me different? And the princess was looking at me different too. What's going on? Do you know what that was?
And you start seeing him think a little bit. I need to unpack that a little bit. I think there's a lot going on there. Boy, sit. You're fine. Just as for Lady Alana, you have to understand. She is a direct product of the war. Her father, having been betrayed by primordials, there's a bit of ignorance there, a bit of emotion. I think she noticed you were not human there. But speaking of that outburst, that's not a spell I taught you, boy. It's beyond my magic, actually.
Don't know what that was. My great-grandfather didn't teach me that either. I have no idea what that was.
And by saying that, because... I see. I was hoping you were going to say that was something he taught you.
That was more than anything I've ever felt before.
Zachary, I've always said you had potential. I don't think I ever realized the potential you actually do have. That's not something that should come natural to you. Magic is studied. I've studied my whole life here. And the little spells that you have are, I would assume, by studying as well. This is something higher than that. You're special, boy. I don't know what that means. But you need to explore that. You need to further that. This town, this schooling, you're not going to be able to learn that and refine that here. Is that something that you feel called to do? I know your situation with your sisters, your situation with your family. And he kind of looks up at you with a very sorrowful look. I miss him a lot. I don't know what happened to him. And I know you're worried about everybody. But maybe this is a way that you can help. The more powerful you become, the more you study outside of the limits of what we can offer you here, the more you might be able to help your family, or at least care for you and your sisters.
It's weird because I've been reading books for months. No progress. I mean, crawling basically. And I'm out there for less than a minute and in something, and something crazy like that happens.
I think I was quick to judge your abilities at first. I assumed, like many of us who are blessed to still have magics, that it can be taught and grinded out, but every so often there are special people that come to it naturally. And I'm assuming your family lineage maybe is assisting with that. Do you know of anyone else in your family that has magic besides your great-grandfather, of course?
I don't know of anybody else. I think no one else inherited it after him. It was a surprise when I showed anything.
Then this is a gift. Maybe even from the affinities above. Don't waste it. You cannot let it die out like a plant to be unwatered. So is our minds. Then it must be catered to, molded. You are raw. It needs to be hardened and fashioned into a diamond. No pun intended, to shine bright. You kind of see the jovial laugh come back. He's like, that was a good one. I'm gonna have to write that one down. Sorry. You kind of just see the nerves are.
What would my great grandfather too. You were friends with him. What would he do?
You see this nostalgic as he sits back and he goes, I was quite young when I met him. Surprisingly so, the age differences of your blessed race and ours. I was just a young squire myself learning what you were learning. We were sent off to the Centaurium before the divide. When all the races would come together, we would share minds, and he was special. The magics that he did, it was like they came naturally to him. But he left Celestia back when your kingdom was more open to communicate with everyone else. When we would trade arcane secrets among the different artifacts that the avatars have left us. He taught me most of what I know. And he studied there and returned to Celestia to rule, at least in his time. It was a golden age. And of course, when he stepped down and the new ruler happened, that was shortly before the Great War. And Celestia closed its borders to the rest of us. That was one of the last times I saw him. We were pen pals ever since, and I'm so glad that your family trusted to send you to me and let me watch over you here. But boy, I can't give you anything else here. You and your sisters, this is it. What, you're going to squabble and be squires for the rest of your life? Letting your sisters work and find jobs to sew and knit all day? I think there's an opportunity if you go off to the Centaurium, and I believe I have a way to do that for you. This is an opportunity for you to not only grow for yourself, but for them, and find a new path. And if the affinities have blessed you, maybe even figure out the answer to... And he kind of fades off as he just is unwilling to say what you already know.
If I go, you watch over my sisters?
Of course. I'm sure Lady Leetta and I could bring them into the castle hold, and we could raise them to be, royal handmaidens, or, at least a better position that they are here, or I could do that for you. Or, if need be, you're not far off, we can come and visit. But there seems to be an opportunity for you. The Centaurium is calling and asking for all the nations to send representatives, and Celestia's already denied not sending anyone.
Why?
Ever since the divide, many kingdoms, especially primordial, are not trusting of the humans anymore. And yours, that much so, I believe, whether or not they believe that their champion had been corrupted, they look down and blame many of the other primordials as well, the kingdoms, for being lesser and letting this divide happen. So many of us call you guys with your heads in the clouds, and ever so much more now. But maybe with a few persuading, I think the queen to be, would let you be their representative. Or if they deny that, she, I think, wanted you to be her squire. You see, she will be going there and attending as preparedness to ascend to her role here. That is what she whispered to me before she left.
She wants me there?
Surprisingly, She said she wanted you
Gonna
to escort her there. What was that?
Gonna use that axe on me?
Don't piss her off. I don't know what her intentions are, but you made an impression on her. Whether good or bad, I cannot say. But she wanted you in her escort detail to go, and if you choose to stay and learn and study, I can make sure your sisters are looking after.
This is the first door that seems to have opened in months. I think I have to do it.
I'm proud of you. There's a strength in you and a fire that has not gone out. Seems to be building brighter every day. Your grandfather, your parents would be proud of you.
Just want to see them again. I want us all to be back together.
I can't promise you anything, but I will keep on trying to figure out where everyone else is.
And we'll be close. I can come back and visit, right?
Of course, of course. It's only a few hours ride, maybe a day's at most.
Okay. I think I can do this.
Well, get your affairs in order. I know of a boat arriving that will be going up, taking the Queen by end's week. I know it's soon, but I think you're going to do great things, Zachary. I could feel it. More than I can teach you. You've obviously surpassed me at this point.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta go. Things ready.
Very good. Write to me. You know where I am, and you know where his study is within the castle. You get a very... he has already given you a letter to be able to access into the upper city as needed, specifically knowing that's why he gives you the scrolls. These are kind of your way to get into the inner city, to be able to visit the libraries that he holds. The scrolls and kind of this letter helps you get to him, so whenever he needs. And he says, I will let the Queen know that you will be her escort. I'm sure Lady Leetta will at least want to go with you all. I will make arrangements for your sisters. We'll get them out of this ward that they're in. I'm sure the Queen will at least grant you that. Or, well, maybe I'll talk to the counselors. That might be a little easier.
Okay.
He stands up and kind of walks over to you and puts just a caring hand on your shoulder. Kind of fatherly. I'm proud of you. Now get out of here. It's been a morning.
So I will go back to, I guess, the ward for now and see how Katrina's doing.
Sure. You go back. It's still pretty early in the day. I'd say about noon when you get back. You guys didn't really go too far, and you'd rushed back. You go back to the ward, and you still find Katrina there. Still kind of in the same fever. She doesn't seem to be getting any worse. She doesn't really seem to be getting better either. And you see Iris there.
What are you doing here?
Kylie had said I could come back. I just wanted to check on Katrina.
I want to...
You want to riot roll it?
Yes.
Insight check. their beacons or a riot roll.
That's a 3.
3.
So,
yeah, I mean Kylie's so nice. She would definitely write a note and let her leave early. Yeah, she's just so concerned about your little sister.
Girls, something came up.
Are you
And
okay?
maybe, I think, yes.
She looks a little worried.
It's not a worry, it's a good thing, I think. But the thing that's not so good is I think I have to leave.
What? For like what? Like one of these day trips?
I don't know how long it's going to be. It might be a while.
Where are you going?
There's a school that might be able to help me with my magic.
Are you leaving us?
It's gonna make it so that we can get the whole family together again. That's what I'm gonna use this for.
You see, you're like processing this. Okay.
And you said that my grandfather or great grandfather went here, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, this is a place that great grandpa Roy went to, and
Well, really?
he had magic, and it helped him, and I think it's might help me too.
Wow, that's huge. You see her balancing not wanting to let you go with the strength of the I'm going to be the big sister and I'm going to take care of Katrina, and that strength of kind of trying to keep herself composed for you as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my hand on her shoulder and just say, "This means you get to be the one who takes care of your sister now."
Yeah. I can do that.
You're gonna have to look out for her and be brave.
I'm brave. And you see her like puff out, puff her chest out a little bit.
Good.
She wipes a tear. Okay.
And yeah, you're gonna have to make sure she eats and she sleeps and gets better from being sick.
So you can study and become the best magic user ever.
Yeah. We'll see. And I'll go over what?
No. She
I was
kinda,
gonna go over and sit by Katrina now.
Katrina's
And just
kind of still sleeping.
I think I'm leaving at the end of the week, so we got time.
Wow. Oh, okay.
But I just want you to be ready. I think you guys are going to be moving out of here too.
Really? Where?
You guys might be moving up to the castle.
You just see your jaw drop. What? Up in the
Yeah,
castle?
so that means you're really important now.
Like with the
You're going to be
princess?
working.
Am I going to be a princess? I've always wanted to be a princess. Do not clip that, guys.
You get to help the princess out and her family and the people there.
You see her eyes are sparkling now, huge saucers that are, she's like, what? Like, okay, this is cool now.
You want to know something secret, though? This is a secret. You can't tell anybody.
Okay, yeah?
I'm going to go to school with the princess.
What?
Yeah.
Cool. I knew you were the coolest brother.
So, I'm going to make sure you're taken care of. everything's going to be all set up for you, and you got to get you ready to be the big sister you are. Okay?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah. We're gonna get like pretty dresses and
The
it's
best,
gonna be royal.
basically.
Yeah, she's accepted this. You see her. She's more excited than anything. Yeah, Katrina will be okay. Yeah, she'll be fine. I'll take care of her and we'll both be princesses, and we'll make you happy. And you don't need to worry about us. You go study and
I'll be able to come to visit sometimes, maybe.
and maybe you could become a prince with the princess.
No, it's not. That won't happen. I don't think.
You just see her kind of like blushing and giggling.
But yeah, you know I love you guys.
I love you too.
You guys are always the most important thing to me.
She like runs in and gives you a huge hug.
And I'll give her a big hug back.
And I think that's where we're gonna wrap it up, unless there's anything else you specifically want to do. You'll spend the week spending time with your sisters. Leia comes back. You guys get your affairs in order, and you
I'll get those scrolls done too.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely. Take the scrolls back in. Arcanist Turin gets the girls set up in the castle. Iris is running around, eyes huge, but Katrina still remains sick this whole time. She's not getting any worse, but now at the care of some clerics, you do see her getting a little better. She's definitely being taken care of a lot better than she was here. You think maybe she'll be starting to get a little better, and he promises to you, and kind of one of the cleric women says, "Don't worry, we'll be watching over here, dear. We'll send word if anything that happens."
And I'll give both my sisters a giant hug before I end up leaving.
I love you, Rob. Thank you so much. You idiot. Love you so much. Yeah, so you give your sisters a hug. You get prepared for travel, and you notice there's a boat down by the docks, a very fine boat, ornate, that seems to be housing what you would believe the now Queen Ascended, and you board it, and as you can see, looking off to your right, there is another boat with 2 Kalishtar on it. One with large pecs, not wearing any clothes, with tattoos. Just kind of nod over to them as they nod back and pass by the docks before yours takes off and travels up towards New Paxia. As we are going to wrap up our amazing, fun little intro to Zachary. You guys are stupid. Thank you. I appreciate it. Look at that. Fireworks is so cool. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are too kind to me. I love you guys. So yeah, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we get back, we're gonna get the second part of the power duo. Pip, Rachel, who's going to introduce our last character to be introduced. So be right back, guys. Give us about 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Thank you guys for waiting and chatting and loving on each other. And y'all are insane. Thank you so much for subscribing and showering me with love. You guys are crazy. I don't need that, but thank you so much. I appreciate it. It means a lot. And there's one thing here I want to start shouting out people and content creators. And that's something I'm definitely going to be setting up something and doing like a featured content creator of the week. So that's kind of something during break I'm going to start doing. So if you do art, if you stream, if you play D&D, if you do anything content created, put online, DM message me, and we're definitely going to set up a support system to kind of help each other out. So I'm super excited about that. But let us jump back in to our story here as we're going to continue on and meet, last but not least, our last character, ran by the one and only. If you want to introduce yourself, not like everyone doesn't already know you.
Hi guys, I'm Rachel, in case you don't know me. Or Pip. I stream with Mark on Marky Gaming, and I will do his, I'll do art streams, and sometimes I'll game, we'll play Left 4 Dead, and also I'm in Beacon's Aura, which is Mark's D&D game that he runs.
Karis.
She's sad right
in
now.
a funky mode right now. Sassy.
We're extreme teenage mood swings right now, so... yeah, and I post a lot of my art on Instagram and Twitter. I think it's my handle on there. I think it is. Yeah.
But on hers, yeah.
I guess there, apparently. The end.
Thank you. Fantastic. Yeah, please go to her Instagram, her Twitter, give her a follow at her handle. Give Marky Gaming a follow. They are amazing. We definitely have super fun players. They're power duos, they're husband wives, but they're also content creators. So, and great RP players as well. So we're super excited for this campaign. But we'll jump back into it. The little girl that's been sitting there listening to the story of the old man is just like, oh, he's so cool. And just seems to be infatuated with Zachary. But as we look around the rest of the classroom, now even the ones that were distracted, not listening, all seem to be attentive listening. And you just see him, all right, well, can we move? Well, y'all are not, you're not going to let me go on without telling you about Annias, aren't you? Annias, the striker of lightning! And everyone's like, yeah! And I mean, they go wild and all right, fine. Just remember, even the smallest of you can amount to great things as well. Anyways, where should we start? Well, I guess the beginning, as all the other ones. As we find you, Annias, you are running through the forest, the green trees. As real quick, we'll move the map here as we're going to go from New Organia back over a little bit to find our adventure and our last character in the area of the Elvish Plains. Annias, you're running through the forest, the greens, luscious green treetops above you, wildflowers blooming yellow, red, just the joys of everything as you're running through, easily able to jump over this branch, slide around this tree, and you seem to be on a mission home. This is natural. You know this place like the back of your hand. And echoing out from different sides, you can hear, she's never gonna find us. And shh, quiet. If you keep on talking, she's gonna find us. And you know, you start picking up on exactly where the echoes are, and you start continually running, and you find a small stream with crystal clear blue water flowing through on rocks. You jump over, and you can hear, quiet, I can hear. And you see on the opposite side of this little creek and behind some trees a large boulder. behind where a small waterfall is flowing down with this water that seems to flow up to the top of this mountain top that you know to be the symbol and glory of the elves. And that at the top of this mountain flows a natural oasis that where the source of this water comes down into the elvish plains. You can just now feel the first drop of an afternoon rain start hitting you as you're targeting and finding your prey and the target of your hunt that you had been going on right now. As you call out to them, you kind of notice the rain real quick, and you start calling out, okay, we're almost done. We need to go home before we get caught in the storm. And just as you jump behind the rock to find the source of the giggling and the two voices, the rock and the bush crumbles and seems to fade from this life giving green, and wood and the branch seems to just wilt, the leaves falling off and withering and dying, and even the bark seems to fade off. You look around trying to find where they went, and all of a sudden, echoing around you, the giggling slowly fades to cries and screams. Annias, help! And you go to turn to reach for them, but you're frozen in place. As all of a sudden, the rain starts coming down in a torrential storm, the wind starting to pick up around you. And there's flashes of thunder and lightning, of green and blue striking across the sky in war against each other. A chorus of battling voices of lightning, thunder, rain, and the cry is going out. But you're frozen in place. As all of a sudden you blink, you're no longer there in the forest, but rather at this oasis. But the water's gone. It's dried up. And there's an altar here. And each time the lightning bolt hits, you can see 6 dark figures as it illuminates, but they're covered in shadow and behind, obscured from the wind and the storm that's pushing you around, and you can't tell who they are or what they are. You only hear one voice, not yelling, but in your ear, trying to comfort you.
Be at peace, my child. Your sacrifice is for the greater good.
Again, a flash of lightning hits, but this time obscured around the tremendous winds. You look down and you see an old weathered woman's hand wrapped around your arm, holding you in place. And you can now see that's the reason why you cannot run. You look at the back of her palm, and tattooed in white and red ink is a white lotus flower, outlined in red around each petal. And then suddenly, the largest, a searing flash of blue takes over your entire image, and coming down from the sky, a deafening crash and a flash of searing white lightning hits and crumbles, almost coming up from the ground. And in this moment, the hand frees from you and you can run. And suddenly you turn and start running away from putting the figures behind you. The winds almost seem to be flowing and picking you up faster and faster, carrying you across the winds. You're stumbling down rocks down this mountain. You're crashing into the different trees. But it seems that each thunder crash is a heartbeat pushing you further, guiding you, pushing you, making it go past any sort of physical tiredness, your exhaustion, but you cannot stop. And each time the thunder beats and seems to give you energy and the push to go forward, you start hearing a voice deep echoing within you and in your head.
Strength. Tranquility. Balance.
strength, tranquility, balance, and power. And suddenly you awaken, looking up towards a bright morning sun, still tired from this meditation or sleep. You can't sleep anymore. You haven't been able to sleep for months, weeks. As this nightmare is something you relive over and over and over again. Thank you, Rob. Perfect. I forgot I had the sound alerts on. Still tired as you meditate.
Oh, hold on. I just realized my
Sorry, that
PC isn't
threw me
plugged in. I'm so sorry.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead, fix that. I guess
Like, plug it in right now. Oh my god.
a good little opportunity to throw it out. I'm gonna be doing a little fun stuff with the bits and the sounds. So just like you heard, Rob donated 50 bits. Thank you so much, Rob. You're crazy. The evil laugh is going to be where you're going to give me advantage on a D4, the DM, and the angelic side is going to be where you can give advantages to the players. But this is going to be something I'll roll out next week. So a little teaser of how you guys can interact to the story as well. So I'm super excited.
Okay, I'm good now. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah. You freak out as your phone's about to die. No, as you jump out of this meditation, breathing hard, looking around, expecting to be in a storm, but you're not. It's a bright morning sun, and you're still tired as each night you relive this nightmare, as whether you try and get full sleep or it's a meditation, a trance, whatever you do to rest at night, it's never a full night's rest. You always feel this nightmare chasing you from behind you. You've been on the run now for a few weeks, going down across these plains, and the plains now are no longer, they're different from the memories that you have, the dream that you have. They're no longer lush and flush with green forest, but rather a dying waste landscape. Water is dried up. The rivers are no longer present, and the settlements that you know and you used to love visiting are few and sparse between, as the elves in this area have gone from proper settlements to now a nomadic race that look out for each one, and different tribes that stay together and look out for themselves. Your stomach garbles with hunger. It's been a day since you've eaten. Your lips are parched as you remember walking now for 3 days through this desert waste landscape. You've been able to keep yourself going, and your hunting abilities have been able to help you gather food when you can find it, and just enough water to stay alive, but it's been tough, and you still have not quite found your bearings yet, as you just feel lost, as nothing seems familiar to you from your childhood. You haven't been here for years, and nothing looks the same. Why don't you describe your appearance for us and introduce your character?
Sure. So Annias is very small. She is 4'11", and at this point probably a little emaciated from not eating for quite a while. She is probably also pretty dirty, covered in dust and sand. She's a wood elf, so she has pointed ears. She has kind of tanned, brownish skin, and long, very puffy, dark hair past her waist. It's a nest, basically. This probably even worse now that we are wandering around in the desert all the time. So if you shook it, I bet just dust clouds everywhere.
Little twigs, bird nest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, how can you even tell anymore? She probably gave up picking it out a long time ago. She has very, very prominent big brown eyes, and is dressed pretty simply. Does not have really anything on her. Yeah. And she looks young too. She looks like she's probably just entered adulthood.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, you kind of wake up and shake yourself back to reality. The garbling now is all you can focus on and think about. Have been in survival mode for a while now. Roll me a survival check.
Okay.
Since you're
First
surviving.
So fast!
And add a D4 for Rob's donation. If you want, or you can hold on to it. It's up to you.
Okay, I'm gonna wait.
Okay. Even
If
though
you're
it was
okay
the
with
evil laugh, but we're going to be a little fair to you guys. But yes, actually, funny enough, that's my own laugh. I couldn't find an evil laugh I liked enough, so I just recorded my own. But yes, what was your number?
Okay, it is actually 21.
Okay, girl. All right.
Really, give me a go.
You look around and you reach down to grab at your side what you have carved and found and made into a makeshift long quarterstaff-esque spear. Something that your mother's taught you over, the ages as a child to be able to find food on your own. It's nothing great. It's just a piece of wood, dead wood that you've kind of carved into a point at the end. But you look over and you've been sleeping kind of behind some rocks in this natural kind of like bushed area in the desert. But you can see over yonder a few cactus and desert type, forests and stuff. And you see movement and look down and can see the tracks of what you, with the 21, notice to be a desert jackrabbit. And you are on the hunt. Your instincts take over. Mm-hmm. What do you do?
Yeah, well, it's if really bad, visions and things like this, and no sleep, so she just like rubs at her head really fast and tries to center herself, and then she just like grabs her spear and is ready. Like very kind of quick transition.
Okay, yeah, kind of turning into that hunter mode.
Mm-hmm.
You do notice now in this long desert kind of landscape, though, the sun is coming up on the horizon to the south, and it's a partly cloudy day. It's just still early in the morning. But just as you go to grab it, you hear a slight rumble in the distance, and you look back to the north, and in the distance, just on the horizon, nothing that that's going to affect you. You just see the dark clouds of a storm front that seems to have been moving past you. And as you're noticing the storm front, you feel a little bit of pang of homesickness as it's over the mountains that you recognize. Not specifically, but what's in that direction. And looking over that large mountaintop with the oasis from your memories, you look up and you can see the reddish glow and the dark billowing smoke coming up from the top of the mountain, as this mountain is now a volcano. But you can see it in the distance, and you shake it off, you go back, and you focus back on the hunting. You start making your way, sneaking up behind it, the tracks, and you already know to stay upwind or downwind to it so it doesn't smell you or perceive you coming. And just as you're about to see it in the distance, you're about to strike, and you remember the words of your mother in your ear. Annias, get low. And suddenly we are back again in this forest as you start getting lower into the bush, sneaking up on your target, never to lose patience. You hear her, not sure exactly where she is, but behind you, whispering, just enough that carrying over the wind that you can hear. Okay, don't lose patience. Remember, you're the one targeting your prey. Find your position. Don't attack until you are ready, until you have the upper hand. And this time you don't have a stick or anything, but you start creeping up on your target. What do you do?
Are we what part are we in right now? Is it green still?
Yeah.
Or
we're still in the green flashback.
Okay,
memory.
I was just trying. Okay, I was just trying.
Just
to
make it.
figure
Yeah,
out.
no,
Okay.
you're good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, yeah. So I look back, and I'm like, okay, and I start going.
She kind of nods.
Like trying to mimic like exactly what she said for me to do.
And she kind of shown you before. She's slightly taller than you with brown hair as well, striking pointed ears with a very caring look. And she seems to be well muscular and athletic as well, knowing, she's the hunter. But she seems to have lost the edge of like the hunter body, as she's a little bit more of a mother, and you can see her like, a little softer around the edges. As she's caring for you, but teaching you and bringing you out to show you these tricks and trades. But you start going up ahead, and you hear the rapping in the bush, or shaking of your target in the bush in front of you. Okay, you can do it, Annias. Whenever you're ready.
So I'll take out a spear that's actually a spear?
You don't have a spear.
Okay, what
Not
do
at
I
the
have?
moment.
Nothing?
Nothing. She's kind of like taught you to like catch animals with your hands, because to track them, and to, you don't want to damage the meat while you're attacking them. So.
Okay. Yeah, so I remember what she told me, just waiting for the perfect moment. So I'm basically, just like holding there waiting, and I'll just jump out.
Yep.
Be as fast as I can when it's time.
You kind of crouch down low, with the grass up now around your head, kind of keeping you obscure, and you start seeing whatever creature was shaking in the bush just about to leave the bush. You strike forward and flash forward and go to tackle this, and you hear sister, as you tackle your brother.
Okay.
I was like, no spear.
Probably because I don't have a weapon.
It's like, not a spear on this one. But you start tackling him, and this is, let me switch to my correct family trees, because you all have the craziest family trees. This is Aaron, your youngest brother. As you've tackled him, he's pushed back on his back as you start tickling him and laughing. He's like, stop it. And without even noticing that they were there, from both sides of you, you are just swarmed and tackled by your sister Alid and Aya. How do you say them? How do you pronounce?
I think, did I say Aaron already?
Aaron, and then Ayea is the second brother.
Oh, Ayan.
Ayan? Oh, that's an N. Yeah, okay, can't read it my handwriting. As your brother and sister now tackle you, almost in this mess of siblings and laughter, and you guys are all tickling each other. As your mother, was it Delsandra, if I'm saying that right? Mm-hmm. Walks forward, and she goes, very, very good. You got your prey, but never forget to look out for your surroundings. And then she jumps in and starts tickling you guys as well. And you jump back into the present as you quickly kind of remember what she's saying and have those fond memories. But you are now in the perfect position as this bush without the leaves, and it's a dying kind of brush, but you can see it shaking just like you did before with the jackrabbit. This time with the spear, as you're ready.
Now I have a spear.
Yeah.
It's safe to use.
Safety off.
Safety.
I'm like, don't kill your brother. It's not the way to
like...
start. Yeah, your mother would be like, no. Go ahead and roll an attack roll for me.
Okay.
Unarmed strike. Or, well, no, with the spear. Sorry. Yeah. I forgot you had a spear. Yeah.
Okay. I got a... Sorry, I'm switching between two things. I'm not used to this. Okay, a 19.
19. Yeah, quickly enough, you kind of shove your spear in, strike your spear in, as it hits true.
Stab it in.
And you were accurate enough to not really hit vital organs or anything that's going to hurt the meat on this jackrabbit. But quickly you're able to pin it and grab it, and you've caught yourself food for the day. As you go to grab this jackrabbit, it's not huge by any means, but it's big enough to feed you for one person, to give you nutrients and protein for a while. It's probably one of the more exciting things that's happened to you for quite a while. Give me a perception check.
I like.
Oh. Hmm?
Okay. Well, like as I stab it, I like almost turn to wherever I saw the storm, and I like put my hand to my chest, like, and close my eyes.
Okay.
In like silent gratitude.
Perfect. Definitely.
So yeah, perception.
Yeah. With that, as you face that direction, give me a perception check.
Okay. 15.
15. You look up, and as you're given this silent, grateful, gratitude, you open up your eyes, and from that storm had gone on more to the east, leaving the mountains and kind of entering into the wasteland. You now see this storm picking up the sand and covering the horizon. You know this to be an oncoming sandstorm, something that you need to get into some sort of shelter, some sort of place to be safe from it, or it's not going to be good for you. You've been through it once, and that was awful. You barely made it out alive. You kind of nod again in thanksgiving, as it almost seemed like the storm had notified you, or kind of at least pointed you in the direction of the storm to see it in enough time. But with that check, you also see a far-off figure that seems to be moving way far away. And at first you thought it was part of the sandstorm, but it seems to be a horse. And someone on a horse riding. And you can see in the distance where the horse is going so fast that sand is billowing up behind it. Kind of thing. That's how you're able to see it. And so you thought it was part of the sandstorm, but a sudden fear comes over you as you don't know who it is, and it's coming from a way that you don't want to interact with anybody coming from that way, right?
Right.
You start turning around, grabbing your jackrabbit, and in the distance you can see a small, not really an encampment, but like a small farm that you could start heading off that way, or that way, and then over to the southeast would be some more, almost like a hillside that seems to might have some rocks or some brush there. So it's up to you. What do you do?
So like my two choices.
Or you could just run in the plains and not have shelter. It's up to you. It's your world, girl.
I run into the sandstorm.
Let's do this, Mad Max. Yeah. Just take the jackrabbit blood.
Yeah. No, I would avoid people probably. So if the farm, if there's a farm, I would not probably go to that. I would probably try and find rocks that might not be as good of shelter, but it seems safer in my mind.
Definitely.
So.
Okay. So you head in that direction.
I take the rabbit with me. I'm not leaving that.
Yeah. Are you kind of running that direction? Are you walking? What are you doing? Yeah.
No, I would be running, especially if there's like a person that looks like they're coming. I'm just gonna try and book it over there. Yeah.
The farm seems to be maybe a quarter mile straight, and this looks to be a quarter mile away from that, so about like a half mile from you. It's kind of like angled back, so it's a further distance to get to that, but you head in that direction. You're able to make it in time. The storm seems to be catching up, though. It's definitely starting to press upon you. You know it's going to be here within a few hours. Go ahead and roll me another survival check once you get to this brush to see how well you can kind of arrange everything for protection. Almost like you've kind of learned to build some lean-tos and to try and put the brush and hide behind the rock enough to protect you. And also, what are you doing with the jackrabbit? As it's raw.
It is raw right now, so... Okay. Okay.
I'll say
Lean
by-
to probably first with priorities.
I'll say by this time, it's also probably going. It's hard to tell with the clouds, but I'd say midday-ish into afternoon by the time you get to it. Yeah.
Okay. Do I see that person still riding around, or is it too stormy to be able to tell anymore?
Okay. Survival check and perception check.
Okay. Okay. So
like to double roll
survival,
this.
I got. Yeah, survival. I got a 17,
17. Nice.
and perception, I got a 20.
20. Dirty 20?
Mhm.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to quickly start putting this together, and you kind of keep on glancing over, and you can still see the horse rider, but it seems to be going towards the farm, not to you.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Good.
something that you're like, okay, I feel good enough. You're kind of staying down low, and you're actually able to build a quite decent lean-to that you kind of walk around and make sure it's not really noticeable or stand outish, and you're able to do that just as the overarching sun starts getting darker and darker as the clouds start reaching to you. There's no rain, but you can hear like heat thunder in the distance, kind of rumbling across the lands. And the sandstorm is darkening the sky. It's about to hit on you. So you're able to kind of like jump into the lean-to and get protection. And it starts rolling over. Is there anything else you wanted to do kind of before the sandstorm hits or anything?
I don't know. I guess if it's pretty windy, I'm not sure if I could do some sort of fire, or not. I would try and like probably skin the rabbit and prepare it, but I don't know if there's time or if a small discreet fire is possible.
From where you are, you can definitely, I mean, obviously you've kind of built enough to kind of sit, like, while you're waiting out the sandstorm, you definitely are able to skin it, prepare it. You have enough room, you have, you know, like, enough ability to do that from what your mother has taught you. As far as the fire, it's going to be difficult in the sandstorm to try and keep a fire going.
Yeah.
But if you want to try and prepare one, I will say it's dark enough where the visibility, you're not too worried about the fire during the sandstorm, but it's going to be pretty difficult to keep it going during it. Maybe once it's passed, that'd be a better idea, but it's totally
Would I kind of be used to how long these things last?
Yeah.
Typically, I guess.
Sure. You've been here running in the desert for, going on what, like 8-ish weeks now. You kind of lost time from how much it's been, but there's been enough of these. You've gone through a couple of them. They can range anywhere from an hour to the whole afternoon, but it usually is done by the end of the day. As the sun starts going down and it calms down, the heat seems to settle down a bit and cool. The sandstorm usually is pushed out, or a cold front might be pushing behind it, like in a storm. So it could be an hour. It could be, nighttime before this ends. You're not quite sure. But this one seems pretty bad. Seems not the worst you've been in, but it's up there. It's not, just a simple afternoon rain.
Okay.
Rock club.
Well, yeah, I know. I saw that too. It's great.
I didn't even think about that.
All my characters have to run love rocks now. Yeah. So, I might try a little bit. I would attempt a fire because I haven't eaten in a while. But if it's not working, I'm not going to waste my energy on it. If it doesn't work, then I will just wait it out and I can suck it up. So. Okay.
I'm not going to make you roll for skinning the rabbit. I mean, I feel like at this point you'd be quite adept at that. You're able to do it well. Yeah, if you wanted to save the pelt for anything, maybe. But you're not really at this point. It's hot enough here. There's really no use for the pelt as much. You've found uses if you need anything. It's more the meat.
Yeah.
Go and roll me another survival with disadvantage because of the sandstorm to kind of see.
Yeah. I rolled a 2 and a 3, so I think this is not destined.
Some Ren rolls there. All right.
Yeah.
You got Ren rolled.
I did.
Yeah, you start, wrapping the scarf around your face and eyes, and your hair's billowing in the wind. But you're able to go and collect a few twigs and tinder. But each time you try and strike these two rocks together, You start getting a little bit of spark and a little smoke, and then all of a sudden the tinder gets blown away. You know, just frustration starts overtaking you as you just give up.
Yeah.
And just kind of like center
We're
in.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of look over at the rabbit and like your stomach, it's just gurgling. You're like, I could eat it raw. I could eat it raw. But you know better to do that. So, or at least it's up to you actually.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. I'm not at that point yet.
Yeah.
She's trying to like go through her mind of like different, you know, if I did that, then this would happen, and this would happen, and this would happen, and I have all my negative consequences I'm listing out in my head, and it is able to like steel myself enough that I'm not gonna just lose it.
Your mother very much taught you the consequences of not cooking, you know, meat, or not, you know, purifying your water that you find. So you halter in. What's going through your mind? What are you doing while this sandstorm is taking place?
I think like much the same of how it has been for a while now. It's a lot of like numb thoughts. You know, I think when you're in a survival type of situation, you don't really want to think, and you don't want to feel anything. You just try and get by. So she's like, she doesn't even really, like, she's trying not to think of anything. She's trying not to remember anything. She's trying not to even think of a plan for when this is over, because she doesn't know when it'll be over. It's just kind of like that moment by moment, and she's just like staring at probably like what little she can see through her little lean-to of the storm, and just like, you know, I mean, obscure things like focusing on random like specks of dust that get in, or feeling like the cracked earth underneath her fingertips, or just like anything just very like present in here, and she doesn't want to really think of anything else.
Yeah, very much that. The wind is howling, the sand is pushing through the twigs. There's enough to be protection, but it's not, you know, sandproof or anything. It's miserable in here. But you feel each time the rolling of the thunder in the distance. I can do this, you know, telling yourself to steel yourself, pushing through. It gets dark as you start feeling the sun setting in the sky. The temperature starts going down. The wind is starting to slow down a little bit, but it's now turning into night, and you can hear rain starting to fall as this sandstorm seems to now, one after another, just now seem to go into a storm, as you think that storm front is now probably caught up to where you're at. It doesn't really bring much rain from the mountains. You know that this storm is a little bit of water, but it's mainly wind and thunder, and any water that drops, you can catch it, but it's very little and distant and things like that. It's nothing to like give life back to the land. You know what I mean? That's all stopped at the mountains. But it gets late and the wind starts picking up around you. But you do feel it's died down enough from the sand that you might be able to try the fire again if you wanted to.
Okay. Yeah, if I feel like it wouldn't bring a ton of light, like I can make like a tiny little one.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead and give me a survival roll.
Okay, let's see if we do better this time,
roll.
buddy. Oh no, well I got a 9, so.
9, okay. You do your best to build up it on the opposite side of the rock.
I'm really hungry, my hands are shaking.
Yeah, you start building it, and you get it started very quickly, but you're just not sure. I mean, you think you're pretty secure keeping it hidden, but you're more focused on food now at this point rather than safety, right? But yeah, you're able to get it going. You're able to kind of set up the rabbit like on a stick enough to be cooked, and eventually, after about another hour or so, the rabbit is cooked enough for you to eat. I'm assuming you'd probably be picking at it early, just on the edge of being edible as it's continuing to cook. But there's that satisfaction of food. Is there anything else you're doing?
Yeah, I feel like we're not paying attention to manners, you know. So
Manners
uh
make the man.
yeah, no, she's just eating very quickly.
Mhm.
Maybe eventually trying to stop herself and like save some, you know, but it always kind of, I think, freaks her out how when she gets to that edge of starvation, how much like instinct just takes over, and then
Mhm.
she has to like pull herself back mentally and be like, okay, no, like save it, ration it out,
Mhm.
have to make things last as long as I can to get out of this desert. This is all internal monologues.
Very much so. Yeah.
Mhm.
As you do this, the whatever's left on the rabbit on the fire is starting to crisp over and not burn, but get that full meal as your fire's starting to slowly die off. The wind and the storm has slowly passed, but you can still hear the thunder on kind of always encompassing you, echoing across this land. It's getting quite late. You can start now seeing the stars in the sky. You can start seeing the skies coming in from the north. It's kind of like when you're watching from like east to west, everything's setting. So like the sun is still just setting over here on this side as nighttime and the stars are kind of like following, right? But the storm has calmed down enough. You can put out the fire if you want, and things start getting silent as all of a sudden the fullness and the distance between things of the plane starts encompassing on you, pressing upon you, almost suffocating you below it as you're alone. It's silent. This is the worst part of being out here, is this. You almost wish for that next rumble of thunder just to hear something and not feel alone or feel isolated or lost. Roll me a perception check, please.
16.
In this moment, you're done eating and you're just taking in this solitude. You're snapped too as you hear a snap of a twig and a crunch right near you. I'd say no less than 15, 20 feet, somewhere around your little area.
Okay. Yeah. She immediately thinks back to this horsey person that was like riding in. And so she like her eyes get like huge and like she grabs her spear and she like starts getting ready for something. I mean, it might just be an animal or something, but you can't be too sure. So she's super alert and she starts like looking out if she can without like revealing herself. I don't know if there's like places in her little thing that she made that she can look out in.
So for idea, and picturing, at least what I'm picturing is like a rock in the middle of like the wasteland, right? And a few like brushes that you're kind of hiding within, and you're making a lean-to like this. So it's not like there's sides to it. Your back is facing behind you and it's open-ended, and the front of you is open-ended. So you can look around and try and, figure out which way you think this is from, because it kind of echoed around you.
Sure.
So are you staying in position?
I got out the fire.
Are you staying in position where you're at, or are you trying to circle around like one way of this rock as it's standing there?
Okay. Yeah, I would probably try and circle around.
Okay.
And see.
Left.
And then, we'll go. Can I tell where it came from?
Not with that perception check. It was enough to hear the twig, but not direction. It's echoing around you, and it's near you, but not sure what direction.
Sure. Let's do left.
Left? Okay. Grab your spear and just slowly, quietly, remembering your all the teachings of your mother, you're staying on the toes of your feet, not to make any noise. You make your way around and look. And there's nothing there. And just as you're about to kind of go back the other way, you're grabbed on your wrist, on your arm, by a hand. And as you look down, you see a hand with a white lotus flower and with red outlines. I need a wisdom save, please.
Oh no, I didn't do very good. I got a 10.
A 10.
Yeah.
Your eyes
not
and your whole
great.
body tenses as you see that symbol, this tattoo on the hand, and without being able to look up or look at anything, you're just frozen in fright, thinking back to the last time you saw this and what this means. You're held in place, and all of a sudden you feel this pull as you hear a voice.
What are you doing out here, little girl? Trying to steal my livestock?
And you're trembling, not able to look up at this face, but you notice it is a hand of an elf.
Okay.
What do you do?
So am I allowed to do anything?
You can
or if
say
I'm
something,
too
but yeah,
scared?
you're like held in place. You can't like run or anything. But I mean, if you want to look up, you can say anything, or I mean, you can
I can't
interact.
know.
Sorry.
Um,
You can do facial expressions.
I can do any facial expression I want. Okay.
Sorry, I'm gonna get
I
used to
will-
that.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Yeah. So I will just. I have my spear, but I guess I'm too scared to use it right now. So I'll just like I'll just shake my head like no.
Are you turning your head towards him or keeping it away?
No, I'm keeping it down. I'm keeping it away. I probably still have my scarfy thing up too.
Okay.
Storm.
Yeah. And he kind of shakes you again, trying to like turn you and like,
I said, what are you doing out here, girl?
and goes to try and turn you around to face him. As you're kind of now just able to like, the shock is wearing off. Give me a what would that be, like a athletics roll against his either athletics or acrobatics, because it's like a grapple.
Oh sure. I'm okay. Oh, both I'm pretty okay at.
Thank you, Rob.
We'll do acrobatics. Ooh,
Acrobatics
19. Yeah.
19. You're able to kind of hold it enough that you're not able to get fully turned around. And he's starting to, get a little bit more forceful with his grip and grip tighter and tighter on your arm as it's much bigger than your arm. He's you feel it's like an adult. I said, I'm talking to you. And you feel a spray of warm liquid on your cheek as the hand lets go of you. What do you do?
Okay. So can I look around now?
Yeah.
Is it okay? Yeah, I'll wrench my arm out and I'll whirl around and I have my spear out. I don't know what's happening.
You
My eyes are like huge.
in the shadow of the night, there's just enough embers from the fire that is glowing up on this elf, and it's very pointed, and this man has tribal marks on his, with slicked back and tied up in a bun, this brown haired pointy ears, but his eyes are wide. And he has a spear sticking through his shoulder. As you look up, there is a man with a hood holding the spear through his back. I need you to give me a perception check.
I rolled a 1, so 6.
Oh no. Get advantage because Rob cheered.
You really want me
Yeah,
to
I want
do
you to
this?
see this.
Okay, 23.
Hey, it's not a 1. Okay. No. Yeah, at first, you know, you take a step back from the shock of this. But as the body, the guy is like clutching the spear, almost in shock, you look forward and a dangling necklace falls from the hooded figure's neck. And you see the same symbol of your settlement, of your tribe. It's a like a silvered pea, but it's very ornate, and it looks like a growing vine on a tree. And it's the same symbol from your settlement back in the mountains.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Are you doing anything in this moment?
Well, yeah, she'll just like start backing away and like has her spear out still. Wait, like just not like really unsure of what to do. So she's just like, but I mean, trying to get some distance.
Yeah. Okay. So you're kind of like walking back in a defensive. You're not like attacking or anything.
Yeah, like no, I'm backing up and I have my spear out and I'm like probably like an instant away from just running.
Bolting.
Yeah.
This hooded figure is kind of standing there, and he puts out another hand towards the elf, the one with the tattoo, that's still in shock, holding this, and you see him freeze up with a spark of arcane from this guy's hand. And he puts down his hood, and it's a balding elf with white hair, puffy cheeks, and kind eyes. You're not quite sure, but you know you've seen him before. You're pretty sure that was one of your dad's friends, someone that you met when you traveled with him. But he goes and he takes the spear out. Wow. Preying on little kids out here, are you? And he takes out some rope and starts to tie this guy up. I've been looking for you for quite a while now. And he pushes, like once he ties him up, he pushes the guy over, who's still kind of like held in place like a log. As he releases the arcane, this guy's now tied up on the ground, just kind of coughing just from pain and shock. And girl, are you okay?
Does he look like he's an elf?
Yes.
Or does he? Oh, he does look like he's an elf. Okay.
Do you want to roll any sort of memory intelligence check to try and remember that?
Yeah.
Give me an intelligence check to see if you remember where you might have seen him from, or what, position.
Sure. Just pure intelligence. Okay. Oh, just intelligence check.
Or history. Yeah, I mean, if you have history, because thinking back.
I do have history.
Sure. Yeah. Let's roll.
Okay. 13.
13. You were really small and a kid at this time, but you remember your dad taking you once to this grand, amazing school that your father frequented and had gone to visit. And you can remember a man there that... Hold on. Yeah. That your dad, you're kind of like hiding behind his legs when you first meet him. But your dad turns to you, Annias, it's all right. It's a good friend of mine. He's helping me with my research. It's Brachius. Sorry, I need to change that name.
Brachius.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he kind of like bends down and gets on one knee. Says, Annias, it's a pleasure to meet you. Your father said so much good things about you. And you're like hiding behind his leg. But he reaches out and hands you a stone, a blue stone with lines of a white, kind of like a whiter band in it. Because you can have this if you want. It's for you.
Oh, am I in my
Yeah, I mean,
interacting
do you
with
take the
flashback?
stone?
Okay. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would have taken it.
Mhm.
It's shiny.
Sure. And so you remember kind of like throughout this, he kind of helped, was giving you a lot of rocks and showing you around this place, and you ended up calling him Uncle Brachius. He's a good friend of your father's. As all of a sudden you're kind of coming back to this moment of wonder, and he goes, I'm no harm. Did he hurt you? Are you okay? As you're kind of like still standing back away from the fire, your hood up, your face kind of covered in darkness.
Okay, so she has like an inclination, like she has almost like a body twitch where she's about to just turn on her heel and run anyway. There's a lot of I think doubts flashing through her head of, I don't, yeah, and I don't even know, like, I don't know who I'm supposed to trust. But she doesn't, she just kind of like really timidly like takes like one step up and is like looking between him and the Lotus guy. Like clearly it looks like they're not it. So then she takes another step forward and just kind of like pulls down like her face covering.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just looking at him. That's all she's doing.
Enough to reveal your face, or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You kind of just take a small, timid step forward into the fire, and he looks as if he's seen a ghost. No. Is it you? And Annias?
She just gives one nod.
Oh, you survived. This is a... Oh, the gods, they've blessed you. Are you okay? How did you survive? What happened to you?
She like looks around. Suddenly, it occurs to her she has not had human interaction for a long time, and this is the first time since she has made her vow that she's had to deal with this. So she just like puts her hand like to her mouth, like thinking, and then she finally she just like gets like a like goes like this, like has her like hand out, and then starts going like this, like a writing motion.
And you just see him like in realization and shock. He's, what did they do to you? Did they hurt you? And
she shakes her head.
He goes, Annias. As you remember, your father taught you sign language as like a fun thing, and that's something that you and him used to do. And he just spells your name in sign language. Is kind of like a fun little like.
Yeah. Well, I probably
use
use it for hunting and stuff too, like with signals
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. Yeah. So she like realizes he knows, and so then she like will nod. And then she'll basically sign.
Told you I'd
No
figure out a
one
way
else.
around it.
Yeah. I'll sign. No one else made it.
Oh. Sorry, I was kind of hoping maybe all of you did. Have you been out here all alone? He's signing back. This is all kind of like silent.
Oh, so he's not even talking to me. He's just signing back to me. Cool.
Obviously realizing that for some reason you're not, you can't speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. you get the idea, like with his expression, he seems very sorrowful that he's thinking you got injured somehow, that they took away your ability to speak.
Right. Okay. Sorry, what did he ask?
Have you been out here all alone this whole time?
Yeah, she'll sign. I've been trying to get out. I've lost.
And he takes a step forward, kind of reaching out to put his hand on your shoulder, kind of timidly to not scare you, to what seems to be like as if he's going into an embrace. And he just kind of signs. He's like, I'm so sorry. And do you let him?
Oh, I'm not sure. I think she's real twitchy, so I think she just kind of like jumps back, like it seems like she's thinking.
No, of course, yeah. You've been through a lot. I'm not gonna pretend to sign. I don't know sign language enough. I just I learned Annias for this.
Cute.
Yeah, but he signs back. He said it's not safe here. And he looks down and you start to see a disdain to the man that's now, he's been struggling to like kind of get free this whole time, but he's like looking back between you in fear. And he goes, he signs back to you. Let's go back into safety. This was his house. No one else is there. And he picks up the guy and like puts him over his shoulder and starts walking that way, and then kind of looks back to see if you're following.
Okay. Before he like when he looks back, she might sign back to him like you're his enemy, and points to the guy on his shoulder.
And this time he speaks. I'll explain inside.
Insight.
Insight check. Right, roll it.
Yeah, just to see like.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, I got a 18. 18,
yeah. There's this familiarity and warmness from him when he looks at you.
Mm-hmm.
And this hatred when he looks at the guy. He's telling the truth. Like he knows what these people have done, and it seems that he's telling you the truth. You don't feel any sort of threat from him.
Okay.
Very much like the fatherly, like the same feeling you got around your dad is kind of the same from him.
Okay.
I mean, not the same. You know what I mean? But
yeah, no,
that fatherly figure
reminds me of it. Yeah. Okay. So, I'll slowly
at a distance
follow him. Yeah. Trailing behind.
Oh, definitely, for sure. Are you taking your jackrabbit, your food? Are you leaving it behind?
Yeah, I'm taking it. I hold do a finger and then I run and get it and then come back.
He looks worried and saddened. Sure. And you guys walk back in quiet as he's really focused on this. You guys get back and you see him kind of peeking in, and you see the tracks. It seems like as you're watching, this is where he came from. You see two set of tracks coming towards, and this is where this elf seemed to come from, and then the second set of tracks of his behind. As you're kind of you see the tracks coming and you're following them back this way. And you can see the horse tied up at this farmhouse. And he goes up and eventually opens it. And he's kind of looking around, just seems to be making sure that no one else is here. It's a small, very just small farm with, just a small little a house and a farm next to it. One person place. It's all built off of I can picture in my head the what you see out in the desert where it's almost like mud and sticks that are hardened together. That's kind of what this house is made of out here. But he kind of goes in and sits this guy down in the middle, invites you in, and kind of closing all the doors and windows, you see him take out a rock, and slowly the rock begins to glow just as a fire and begins to light, and he just kind of places it down and begins to light up the whole room. And making sure that this guy he kind of ties him up to the chair again. I went looking for you all. I couldn't find you. But my son, he stepped up and has taken leadership of Solastrum, you know, where your home settlement was, in your father's stead, and was very vocal and accusing the White Lightus, blaming them for what happened to you all. And no one believed him. And a month later, my son was killed in a hunting accident. But I know the truth. They came back to silence him. And you kind of hear this grumble in his voice. They killed my son. Anyway, I've been tracking, and he tells you that this elf's name is Varo, Varo.
Varo, okay.
And to the surprise of the Ancient One, I found you here as well. I didn't think I'd ever see you or your family again.
Is this guy that's tied to the chair, is he conscious?
Yeah, he's freaking out at this point, like eyes wide. He was gagged by Bricarius, but he's tied up and conscious and is very fearful of knowing what's about to happen or what he thinks is about to happen.
Yeah. So she's has been listening to all of this, and her face just gets pretty enraged, I guess, and she signs to him your son was right, and she just points to the tattoo on his hand, on the guy's hand.
I need you to go outside. Please. I don't want you to see this.
She just signs, you're killing him.
And you see there's pain and anger and emotion and sadness, and a tear starts falling down. You know him to be a kind man. Your father and him, they were peaceful people. And there's this built up just rage and fire coming out of him. There has to be justice for my son. He's not going to hurt anyone else.
She signs to him, I want to know why. And she points to the guy again. I want to know why they did it. She'll sign again.
You deserve that.
And then she... Yeah.
And he just kind of he's letting you do what you need to do. Or he'll probably walk over and ungag him to, you know, that way he's the one doing it, letting you kind of like stand where you're at facing him.
Yeah, I'm still kind of hovered by the door, like ready to run.
Yeah.
Like I am not fully in this, but
once he's ungagged, though, you see now in the light this tribal marking, and his teeth are all filed down into points, and it's very monstrous.
Gross.
And yeah, it's disgusting. It's just like the staring contest.
Yeah, she's not gonna say anything. So she is staring down at this guy, and then she signs like off to the side.
Oh, right. Yes. What? And he's like realizing he needs to translate for you.
She will say, why. Or yeah, just tell me why. That's all she says. Like it's like she hasn't even spoken in so long. It doesn't even feel like she needs to say more than that.
And he almost you flinch for a second as Bracarius swings the small staff he has, and it hits the guy in the back of his head, like real forceful, and you just crack. She said, almost as if like you said it out loud, and then like repeat of like answer her. She said, "Why did you do this? You owe her that before I end you." And he looks right up at you, and again, there's that tenseness of fear and that same feeling that you had from the nightmares you have. But now, this shadowed figure that you had in your vision is almost like you're now remembering seeing that in the storm, you know, in the position across, and he's looking back at you.
Yes, you are the one that got away. You are the reason we're all gonna die here, girl. Don't you want to be the hero to save all of us? Your father put the curse on these lands. Without your death, Sundavir will not bless us with the life and rain that we need to survive.
And again, it's just these teeth that have been grinded down, and these marks that go past with his striking ears. It's
we got some creep vibes.
So I'm talking creep vibes, and you know, these elves have because of the drought in this land have all become such, especially the ones that live out in the plain, are nomadic and barbaric and savage, and have formed into these survival packs that fend for themselves. What used to be a luscious race that helped each other and lived in, you know, time together, they've now turned into the savagery. And you see him in it, and it's shocking to you because your settlement, none of you guys did this. No one turned into this. You guys were able to escape from these plains, and it saddens you and scares you and to see this happen.
Do I recognize the name? He said Devere?
Sundavir. S-U-N.
Sundavir.
S-U-N-D-A-V-I-R.
Do I recognize that name?
Give me a religion check.
Okay.
Now I'm really hungry. I want a jackrabbit.
Okay, I got a 17.
17?
Mm-hmm.
There are whispers, and you heard your dad arguing many times with, not in front of you often, but you would always kind of like listen in to the meetings your dad would have with the different tribal leaders that would come. And there was this always argument over whether to be patient and have trust in the ancient way and believes in the infinities, or to listen to the light and follow the guidance of Sundavir, who has, come to be the savior to the elves. As what did he roll again?
17.
17. Yeah, you've been able to pick up enough that they kept speaking of the prophet of Sundavir, Virdis, who to be the leader of this white lightest cult, who is kind of centered around this apparent appearance and prophecy and I'm trying to think of the right word for it. The visions that Sundavir has apparently appeared to Virdis, that put faith in Sundavir to save the plains. And there's this huge argument of it's blasphemous and a false god, and to follow the ancient way and to believe in the affinities and the avatars and the champions, and the arguments of the champions left us long ago, that kind of thing. So with your good roll, yeah, you got a little lore drop there.
Yeah, okay. So she can she kind of puts the pieces together, and as he's talking, she's white knuckling the spear in her hand, and just looking more and more mad. Especially now that he's tied to a chair, it's a lot easier to be mad than scared. So,
Yeah.
So she will sign very aggressively.
See Bricarius in shock, he's getting white and just realizing what's happened and what they've done to your family, and he's piecing the other things now too. He didn't have answers.
Oh, okay, yeah. So she, so she'll sign though, why us? Was it because we left? But she does it just really so mad.
Crack! You heard her! And why them? Why did you single them out? God, just kill me already. And kind of in pain of he's squinting his eyes as this intense pain is kind of coming through, cracking his skull.
It is what she foretold. It's what Sundavir told Virdis. You are to be the sacrifice to please the Sundavir, to save the elves. Don't you want that, girl? Don't you want to save us all? We're doomed without it. Going to let all of us die?
She will sign back you can feel the hatred, but she signs back, after what you've done, as far as I'm concerned, you all can rot here.
He kind of repeats it as you say it.
Mm-hmm.
And now Bricarius is shaking and in anger.
Don't worry. We'll find you. We'll complete the sacrifice, whether you volunteer it or not. Sundavir's light will guide us.
And he kind of you can feel the zealous fanaticness and craziness continuing to build up. You start to see Bricarius grabbing his spear and about to take a movement forward. Are you doing anything?
Mm-hmm. Can I just throw my spear in his chest? The guys?
Yeah, roll me attack.
Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I got
he's tied up.
10.
You definitely get advantage on it. He's tied up. He can't go anywhere.
Oh, okay. That's
I was about
a good
to say
point.
you didn't even have to roll for it, but I didn't want to take the roll from you.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Advantage would make sense.
Yeah, he's restrained.
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
yeah, I got a 23.
Okay, I was mechanically, yes, he's restrained, but you start to see Bricarius' hatred fueling not only for his son but for you guys. He's about to do what you're about to do, and before he can, you launch your spear. And Bricarius steps back, almost in shock of what did this little girl do? What? No, that's And there's this almost like moment of like, this was mine, like this is my kill, but there's like acceptance of it, and blood starts pouring out of these feigned teeth. You start seeing the light flicker in his eyes.
The lightest will always find.
She's probably shaking.
Bricarius just drops the spear and falls to his feet, bawling. Falling to his knees, just bawling.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually he slowly calms down. How are you reacting to this?
Yeah, so she looks almost in shock of what she just did. It was like the anger just overtook her. It's like she didn't even think, he's sitting there mocking her and she just throws it. And so now that it's over and she actually killed someone, and he's crying, she's like, she doesn't even notice. She's just kind of like staring at the spear in his chest and the blood dripping down. And yeah, she looks like she's just kind of in shock right now, I think.
Yeah, he eventually kind of starts coming to, and you see him look up at you and thank you, but it shouldn't have been you, girl. And
she shakes. Yeah, she just kind of like shakes her head like away a little bit, like trying to like jolt herself back, and she just signs back. He's only the first.
you see this recognition in his eyes and sadness and understanding, but the emotional still processing. And he kind of snaps to and starts looking around and finds I can't think of the name, like a blanket, like a curtain that's hanging, and he rips it down, and he just literally kicks the guy, and as the body falls back off, like still in the chair but down on the ground, he just covers the body. I'm done looking at him.
She nods.
So you've been out here this whole time, alone?
She nods again. She like signs like, I don't want to be here anymore. And she like motions outside, like.
Yeah.
Like,
same thing. He's like, yeah.
This general area.
For sure, 100%. Yeah. I say, let's. And he kind of like starts walking to the door, kind of following you out. You guys are back out in the front, and he kind of shuts the door behind you. And you're standing there. There's a horse tied up in the stables, and then his horse kind of tied up here. And he looks at you and. Sallow Storm isn't safe anymore for you.
She shakes her head. And she signs, I think someone sold us out. I don't know who.
Yeah. I think they betrayed. And he kind of like trails off as he is about to say his son as well.
She does. At this point, we're on the same side. She does like timidly like reach out a hand and like put it on his like arm, his like upper arm.
He goes to like fully embrace you if you let him. again, going to start doing it, as in like a
Yeah,
reaction.
she'll let him
Like stiffly.
Yeah, like it's almost like she's just not used to it. It's like it's been a really long time.
Yeah, there's like this very fatherly hug, and you can feel the pain of a father missing his child, and knowing that like in him he sees you as family, and then realizing this quickly that you're not, like, understanding your body language. Yeah, he just lets go again.
Well, actually, once like she's in the embrace and he like starts to let go, then she like actually will like fall into his chest a little bit, and you can like she kind of is crying a little bit. It's like now
Yeah.
all the adrenaline's gone.
He's tearing up and choking up. Bless the stars. Okay. You can come back with me. And he kind of like starts to like, he puts his hand on your shoulders and kind of steps back. And you come back to me to the Centaurium. You'll be safe there. We can figure out what's going on. None of the elves would ever send anyone there. You can be safe there for now. We can learn. I can show you what your father started. Oh, actually. And he reaches into a pocket and pulls out something from his pocket. Your father founded these and was planning for me to give this to you for your next birthday from him. And he hands you a rock, and it's similar to the one before where it's blue, but he hands you it's shiny. It's been warped and tumbled and engraven into place, and he hands it out, and it's bright blue, transparent with a white line inside. But as you look at it, it's as if it's like clouds moving within this small little marble, and it has two pieces of like a wrapping. It's like a necklace that you would wear. And he like just hands it out to you. It's from your father.
So she would I know if that meant anything?
Do you take
like it? Yeah.
You pick it up, and flashing back to your father's study, he was finishing a message to someone. It's the breakthrough we've been working on, Precarious. This is huge. This is what could save us. We need to take time to study it. I can convince them just to wait. And you're kind of like waiting at the door to come in. And he says, yes, you have the special one, right? Yeah. Can you enchant that, please? Can you work on that? I want it to be a special gift to her for her birthday. And he all of a sudden hears you in the creaking of the door, and he goes, I will talk to you later. Annias, come in, dear. And he turns to you.
Mm-hmm. And she like comes in pretty happily.
And you see around his study, he's very intellectual, studious. He has scrolls and all these weird instruments and everything. And there are rocks everywhere, of these greenish glowing rocks and reddish glowing rocks, and all of them seem to be arcane and crystalline. But there on the desk is a box with 4 of these, and there's one missing. Of the same stone that just got given to you, but without that swirling inside. And he kneels down to you as he's looking at you. Annias, dear, I know you were angry at us for moving you away from home when we settled up here in the mountains. But you've been so strong, not letting your siblings see and being strong for them, guiding them. I'm so proud of you. I know your mother's pushing you to follow in her footsteps and learn the ways of hunting and fighting, but I see the potential in you. I see the same spark of curiosity and wonder in your eyes. And the loving, caring protection you have of your siblings. I know you're going to follow my footsteps, and don't ever lose that caring love, that spark. Don't ever lose that, dear. You will always be the most precious thing to me. You'll always be my cat's eye. And you're flashed back to looking at the stone, and you hear Bricarius say it's what we call the cat's eye. And he hands you it, and it's definitely enchanted, but it's just some sort of necklace given to you. And he says, come back to the Centaurium. We can get you rested there. You'll be safe, and we will figure out, and I will track them down, all of them, until they come to justice. I promise.
So she's like probably like cradling this like necklace in her hands. And you said it's enchanted, like swirly or something?
Yeah, so the other rocks are, and you can look this up, it's a real rock, the cat's eye.
Man.
Yeah, definitely a little Easter egg for your rock club. But this one is very transparent. It still has like sparkling, the white pieces and line in the rock almost sparkle like stars in the sky. And a swirl, it's like constantly moving as if like a storm. Or clouds and wind and air blowing around, and the blue almost seems to move like water. You're not quite sure what it does or what's enchanted with, but it's definitely a special compared to the ones that you saw before.
Okay.
Kind of Bricarius.
Yeah, so she...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, well, yeah, she'd probably just, like, be staring at it while he's talking to her. And then she's, like, starting to put it on and hearing him being like, I'm gonna hunt them all down and bring them to justice. Like, she, like, kind of probably will, like, just fasten it as he says that. And then she, like, she nods and she signs... I made a vow that I would. I just don't think I'm strong enough now.
You're the strongest one I've ever met. You survived all of this. Don't worry. You will be safe. Let me handle them. And he kind of looks back at the cabin. Shouldn't have been you that did that. I'm sorry. Keep your innocence. I know it's been taken from you, but you can start again. You can start new. I've already lived my life. I have nothing else to live for except to put them to justice. You will find your strength, I promise.
She will sign, you have just a right to them as I do, but I need to do this too. I know not now, but someday.
There's a little bit of understanding and like heartbreak. I mean, he's seeing this little girl that, you know, has grown up and as a child, right? And he now sees like the woman before him matured and grown up through this. Your father would kill me if I let you, but I understand.
She signs, I don't think he thought this would happen. Circumstances change.
Well, we'll see what happens. They've all gone into hiding. It's going to take a long time for me to find them anyway. But you can train and become stronger in your mind and in your skills. I'm not going to stop you. You can do it. You can find your own path, but I'll be there to support you the whole way. Keep you safe until you figure that out. And he starts walking over to the other horse and like untying it and prepping. Are you ready?
No hesitation now. She's just like, she just nods.
And he'll kind of help you.
She's ready to get out of here.
He'll help you get on that one horse, and he gets on the other one. Let's go. And then you guys start riding off, looking back towards the direction of the mountains. You're not going back towards home, but rather more to the east, the west of it, towards past it. But as you're looking around, riding and seeing past the desert wasteland, the storm that had passed you by and was raging over the mountains and brought the sandstorm seems to be heading towards where the capital and where you remember Centaurium to be. And looking behind you one last time to this place and wanting to put everything behind you, you look back at the farmhouse and you see a beautiful wave of blue and green energy shoot up from a far off mountain on the horizon to the south. And all of a sudden it lights up the sky as like a wave heading towards you, an aura borealis heading towards you, the wind softly picking up at your back. And you follow this light overhead and it passes by and goes off into the distance to hit this storm front that had been rumbling off to the mountains in the north. And adding to the blue and green ambience, it's beautiful. What's been a nightmare of a torrential storm, and though you've had gratitude towards it, the nightmare of it from the mountains now turns into this beautiful landscape as the wind starts blowing from behind you. And as the storm cloud illuminates in blue and green, you see rumblings of lightning and thunder. And you swear that you see some figure in the clouds, almost hidden in the light. And all of a sudden the bright and startling blue bolt crashes behind the mountains. And you know that you're being pointed in the right direction. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Great.
So good.
That was so fun.
So, super exciting. We got to meet all 4 of our babies and their different backgrounds, the tragic stories, the joys that they're going to be going through. And we're going to go ahead and end it tonight. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. Shout out to the True Mammoth for your crazy cheers. Angie and Mark and Josh, all of you guys for subbing. That's super. You guys mean the world to me. Something that I always want to do on Thursdays. So going forward, DiceAntics is going to be Thursdays, every Thursday, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll try and end around 10, 9:30 to 10. These were kind of long being the intros, but I want to support other people, so we're definitely going to raid someone. So if you guys want to go give a DiceAntics BardicDice hug of love to a supporter, I'll find someone to raid at the end of it. And I just thank you guys so much for everything. I really appreciate the community we've built and the love and support that we can give out to the world. I don't care if there's 1 or 2 people watching. All I care is that you guys feel like you're safe and have a community to come enjoy and feel loved at. So thank you guys so much again for everything. Shout out to Marquee Gaming Beacon's Aura on Sunday. Join us as Mark continues to tell the storyline of the Beacon babies.
And break our hearts.
And break our hearts. So that's every Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2 p.m. Central because of time zones on Marquee Gaming. So definitely check that out and continue to follow. I'm gonna start editing these, put them up on YouTube. But yes, let us see who we have to raid.
While you're looking, great job,
Yes.
by the way, Mikey.
Oh, so sweet, of course. Good job for you too. This crazy, fun stuff. We're gonna go find a Dungeon the Dragons group.
Do it.
I'll give you guys a second, but when we go, we're gonna give them a whole lot of love and support. Let's see what we can find here.
Also, Mark said, "Woohoo, heartbreak."
Woohoo!
So,
Yeah, you thought I was gonna have a fun and fancy story, huh? I'm gonna break all your hearts. All right, we are going to go. I can do it just in chat, right? Yeah. Raid. Mech. It's not anime. Ahime. Mech Ahime. See if this works. It says 5 suspicious party members and a goat.
Oh, well, perfect.
Yeah. So let's see if this works.
You did it.
Yay. Let's go see it. So yeah, just go give them some love, and we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Right now. Stop streaming.
Yes, stop it. It's time to end.